There we go. We are live. Okie dokie. So let's do a final check. Everybody signed in to Foundry.
Maybe.
Looks like 1, 2,
Yep.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. Looks like you're all signed in. Everybody loaded in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. And everybody who wants to have you signed in to and are you hearing Sirenscape?
Yes.
Awesome. Alright then. Well, in that case, the first thing I will do is turn off Sirenscape. The next thing I will do is wonder why Sirenscape isn't turning off. Damn boy. There we go. And I will take away the familiar ship rumble, that ever so soothing engine rumble, and we will kick off this session with our usual intro video. So, see you in just a few seconds, folks. And hello and welcome, everybody, to the further adventures of the USS Navis. I am MJ, the GM, otherwise known as Matt, and I will be your games master for this evening. And with me, as always, are my intrepid crew of the Navis, with one extra today. Because we lost John recently, we have been joined by Mike. Welcome along, Mike, to the madness. The madness. We will get to introducing your new character very soon, I promise.
Looking forward to science.
Yes. And there will be much science. But speaking of much science, I'm going to first turn on the rumble once again and put us back on some intro music ambience. Before we get stuck into the episode proper, we will be doing what we usually do at the start of a brand new episode, which is have a look at the various different scientific experiments and projects that we have ongoing, and see if we've got any left to do, or if we have any new ones to start. Now, we definitely have Dr. Bertram's plant-based organic template for replacement limbs and stuff like that, or the scaffolding rather, I should say, for such things.
Will begin.
To conclude, our previous science officer was on the verge of finishing up a science project, but that's fine. That was so close to being finished, it may as well be. And she was definitely onto something, which she has taken with her to Narendra Station for further integration and research, so who knows what that will turn up with. So before we go into Dr. Bertram's grand experiment, is there anybody else who's got any idea of stuff they want to do? Like maybe, I don't know, the whole holographic torpedoes thing?
Yes, since I'm finally not dragged into Sonic research, let's do crazy shit with holograms.
You loved it.
There's our PG-12 gone. Right.
Shit.
Yeah.
There was a slight pop on his mic, that's what it really was.
Definitely.
Nah, he loved doing the playing with sound.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
He kept coming back for more.
You didn't get a choice. You wouldn't let him go away. This is what the humans do, or changeling friends. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. He is the only human on the changeling clip. I nearly got the wrong way round.
Okay. That was a bit more of a sinister chuckle than I intended to come out with there. I do apologise for that. Anyway. Alright then. Well, unless Gareth wants to get stuck in right away to Bertram's project. I think we owe Bertram that, actually, since it's been so close and so long in the making. Let's bring on his fabulous assistants.
Is Fizel staying on board then?
Well, all 5 of her
Husbands.
Well, they're not husbands.
No, she's only married to
husbands
one of them.
yet.
She's only married to one of the Bravos, isn't she?
Well, we never quite determined the full extent of that.
Yeah,
Oh God!
Unlike Jenny and the Doctor's current affair.
Right, Jean is not so happy about this.
But hey, he might actually get his lady wife, Ensign Jenny Eric, back after this. So who knows?
Oh yeah, because he's just going to take us straight back after she had an affair with Mossman.
I was going to say, whenever they're doing science together, she'll always be thinking of the Doctor.
It's ironic because when the Doctor's doing science, he's thinking of the science.
He's got no interest. Just Bertram's platonic.
Oh dear.
See, I'm tempted
Awkward.
to actually just come out and say Bertram is Ace Arrow, just to put a pin on it.
I just thought he was a self-replicating moss in a trench coat.
Well,
Not enough.
Hey, there's generation 1 of the sentient tumbleweeds going by. I wonder what's up with that.
We haven't even started the research project yet.
It's time traveling sentient tumbleweeds.
it exists
long
before
night.
it even got created. Nice, I like it.
Paradox
Yeah.
tumbleweed.
Mike, you know that science you were excited to get done? Boy, did that take a turn for the strange quickly, didn't it?
Are you really surprised?
Nah, he's watched some of our previous episodes, so I doubt he is. Anyway, let's get on with science to do with Dr. Bertram. So we've established that this is pretty much going to be... Fizel is bringing in the genetics focus. Eric is keeping it to the botany focus, whereas Bertram, of course, will be using his biotech, because that's the avenue that we're currently pursuing. So, insight, reason, and medicine for Dr. Bertram. Insight or reason and science for Ensign Jenny Eric. And insight or reason and medicine for Ensign Fizel. So, seeing as we have the new kid on the block, let's have Mike. Can you just ensure for me that you can access Ensign Jenny Eric's character sheet by double-clicking on her, please?
Why, yes, I can.
Awesome sauce. In that case, can you give me a reason and science task? So reason has been selected, science has been selected. If you press the yellow perform task button, it should bring up another window. You'll need to check the checkbox that says using focus.
Alright.
And you will also need to roll just 1 dice in your pool because you are assisting, so... There should be a slider that lets you determine how many dice you're using. You just want 1. Awesome. And it's as simple as that. Start as you mean to go on! 2 successes! Your first roll is a 1. Blimey.
Science!
Welcome to Team Science. Damn! Alright, well. Next. Jan, since you had problems earlier, let's confirm that you don't have any more problems accessing characters by being Ensign Fizel, if you could, please. And for her, we probably want reason and medicine with a focus on genetics, please. We'll see how we do, but we've already accrued a ton of successes. Yes, this was possibly one of the most successful parts of the entire endeavour, and it's the very, very end, at which point you have successfully completed.
Go out with a bang.
Yeah, bang and a half, good grief.
How much additional momentum do we gain? Hey!
Well, actually, considering you only needed, and you got, you may as well get 3 momentum for that, because, damn! That was so successful it carried over to everybody else. Sorry, Sean, I talked over you there.
Just waiting for the double complication then.
Well, it's happened twice before that I know of, so maybe even 3 times.
Hey, we're not the Combs.
No, you're not. But the Navis has had one
don't
double
happen
20.
on the Navis.
I like Gareth's laugh there.
You're serious. Computer, book a session in Medbay for Captain Andrews. I think something might be wrong with her perceptions.
Well, yeah, congratulations. You have gotten all the way to the end of that particular branch of research, and it has yielded the result you were after. You can now successfully create templates for organic grafts using plants as the grown organic scaffolding.
So basically what you're saying is step 1 is complete.
Step 1 is complete.
Coming up next week, or next episode, step 2.
And we can determine what step 2 will be probably during downtime, I would imagine.
Yeah. No
Which is
problem.
cool. Gives you time to have a good old think about what hypotheses we want to use and that kind of thing. Plus, it'll, I need to know as well because I need to decide which one's the right one.
Yep.
So we've done that, and now we've got the brand new one, which has been long in coming, which was our new first officer's interest in holographic torpedoes.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
the way we tend to do this using the rough translation of the scientific method from the rulebook is that if somebody has a science project that they want to undertake, they need to give me between 3 and 5 different avenues of investigation, usually involving a focus or 2 that some character on the crew has got. Otherwise it just becomes a little bit more difficult. So, if we are going with holographic torpedoes, might somebody want to suggest to me a potential avenue of investigation? Quantum physics. I know why you chose that, by the way. It's right there in your list. I can see it now. No, quantum physics for a holographic torpedo. Interesting choice. What do other people think?
Well, holographics is good.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was just
And
thinking
then
like holographic.
torpedoes.
Holographics, torpedoes. We have got a power systems one of how do we make everything fit in the box and still have enough power to work when it gets there.
Will there be dimensional folding, possibly then?
Subspace.
It has
Subspace
got
field
to-
harmonics.
There you go.
The idea is to use it as a boarding torpedo, so infiltration might be useful for programming the holograms at the other end.
Ooh, because it will need to give you an accurate hologrammatic enemy for the enemy to react against. Okay.
And security protocols is valid as well, because again,
Is
half
it when-
the job is making the thing, half the thing is making the holograms be believable when they're at the other end.
I was going to say, when you first actually approached this idea, I didn't realise you meant it was a boarding thing. I thought you meant it to literally create a decoy in space and like another
No.
ship kind of thing.
The idea for this is it's a torpedo with holographic projectors in it. We launch it at a ship, it pierces their hull, and then fills their ship full of whatever random stuff we decided when we set it off.
So next time we're fighting Klingons, just tribbles, lots and lots of tribbles.
Yeah, so you fire it at the Klingons, it hits their cargo bay, fills their cargo bay with virtual tribbles, and scares the shit out of them.
What I'm saying is, Vibers was gaming one night, was messing around with the spawn commands, and suddenly an idea went off in his head.
No, Vibers was getting moaned at about repairing the torpedo bay while cleaning out the holodeck filters.
Be honest, these are the phrase. Oh, sorry, no, you first.
I was going to say, let's face it, Vibers just wants to go to the the bad Romulan ship, put a fin in there, and then just type in spawn TNT 9999. Enter.
I think there was a Yan who tried to say something just a few moments ago as well.
Yeah, I was just wondering, are we going to rely entirely on the torpedo projecting the holograms, or is this going to be some kind of infiltration of their enemy ship systems as well?
A bit like hacking.
Good question.
How we go?
So, quantum physics, sorry Mike, might not be the most sensible option for a potential, now that we know more about what they are actually going for. Quantum physics doesn't seem to me to fit. Go on, sorry?
It would be the most odd choice.
It would be the most odd choice, and therefore could it be the right one? Well, no, quantum physics seems a bit of a stretch. I mean, technically anything wibbly can be quantum physics, but this seems pretty much to be, in my opinion, very much based in hologrammatics and, as you've already said, infiltration and security protocols. So, sorry Mike, we're going to have to maybe poo-poo that particular idea.
That's okay. He's not even on the bridge yet, is he?
Well, no, quite. There's a voice from somewhere off, deep in space, going, "Quantum mechanics!"
Something
Oh,
tells me
it's
that
resources minute. It can't be put.
yeah, something tells me that Claude is going to be dragged into this one, as he has starship weapon systems as a foci.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so far,
weapon systems, security, and
well,
all right. Let me read you what I've got so far. Sorry, just to the ones I've written down, thanks to what you said initially, were holographics, torpedoes, subspace harmonics, infiltration, and security protocols. That's 5. Do you want to replace one or more of them, or just forget
no,
about
I
it?
think that's a nice 5.
So we're going with that. Okay. Humany, who? Okay, so let's quickly then put together your team as to who's going to be helping you make this. And by quickly, I mean, suggest someone now.
So, weapon systems probably bring Claude in because knows buttons.
Well put.
I could do with someone who's got an interest in helping out on what the holograms do. So
I'm not sure anybody specifically has got hologram.
That sounds like one of your two's bag.
Nova definitely for the infiltration stuff, unless Sean wants to suggest something else.
I'll throw Edwards in because of the latest focus does make him a bit of a jack of all when it comes to crazy science, because experimental technology is a focus.
As does tinkering and technological experimentation with Nova.
So does Nova, doesn't she? Nova has.
Mm-hmm.
So you're basically getting the guy who fires the ship's weapons and the 2 who like to tinker.
Yeah. I'm pointing them at a thing that goes boom and with a thing that could cause a Moriarty to appear on the ship.
Tinker Starfleet. Tinker Spy. Lord. That was bad, Matt. I'm not going to try that again. I had a good one, but it left my brain. Tinker, Starfleet, Clawton Spy. There we are. Right. So, which avenue would you like to pursue first of all? Let me just give you a reminder of which ones you've got. Holographics, torpedoes, subspace harmonics, infiltration, security protocols.
Let's go with torpedoes. There's
Torpedoes.
no point going any further down the torpedo route if it turns out it won't fit and it's gonna explode.
You've got to pack it in more.
Jamming stuff into the quantum torpedo casing. You did take the warhead out first, right, Commander?
There's only one way to find out.
Press button now. And the Navis was never heard from again. Poor Lieutenant Ore is left there on the Farragut going, "It's my ride." Anyway.
Everyone's delivered by the Farragut.
Anyways, let's get some rolls done then. So, who is taking the lead on this, it being torpedoes? Are we going with Claude being the guy in charge of Starship weapon systems? Or are we actually going on somebody who knows engineering? You know?
This is why I got promoted, wasn't it? Because I tried to put Claude in charge or something. Right, go on then.
Admit the end, we just been eyeing up your desk for a while.
We all know that Andrew's fanboys over Claw anyway, so, you know.
Basically, if Andrew dies in the rock slide, we know what happened.
Wow.
Terrible. But it wasn't a tumbleweed.
It wasn't a tumbleweed one. That was a good.
It wasn't tumbleweed.
No, it wasn't. That was good. By good, I mean, you know. Anyway.
Come on, we can keep this 15 minutes.
Let's keep this going as long as we can, shall we? Right.
It affects the age rating if you explain it.
Now it's in my brain. Anyway, quick, let's move.
When a mummy rock and a daddy rock love each other very much, they hug in a special way.
Meanwhile, in the battle module of the Navis...
Right, so this is one of our torpedoes. We want to fit this casing with hologrammatic emitters so that when it pierces the skin of an enemy vessel, it infiltrates their systems, finds out what the crew are most scared of, or what's the most likely to provoke a reaction, and then fill it with hologrammatics.
I just thought it should have been cybernetic warfare. Not cybernetic, blah.
We can do that for parts.
Would it be wetware?
No, I know what you mean.
Hacking, when you cyber warfare.
Yeah.
Cyber security warfare.
You can still change one of the hypotheses avenues if you want.
Let's see.
Electronic warfare.
That's the badger.
Go on,
So,
then. We'll throw
holographics,
electronic
torpedoes, subspace harmonics, infiltration, security protocols. Any one of those
warfare.
you think?
Let's replace subspace harmonics with
Electronic warfare. Which, funnily enough, is the specialty of most communications officers.
So,
However, we're dealing with torpedoes today.
we're dealing with torpedoes today, yes.
So this is probably gonna be... Well, I think Sean's got it right with putting daring, but let's have engineering for Nova. Daring and engineering for Nova. Because what other way does Nova do? Engineering. If we're looking at how we fit something in, let's go with reason and engineering for Edwards. Claude, let's go reason and security because he's doing the actual weapon system side of things. Oh, dang, Sean! 2 successes already. One from Edwards, nicely done. Webby, if you want to be Claude, since we know how much you love being Claude.
Do I need to be asked? What do you want? So,
This is going to be reason and security for Claude, please.
Single. Use foci as starship special weapons.
Yes, please.
Roll 1 die.
Okay. Not bad, Claude, but you know.
Claude have too many buttons to press.
Which leaves us with reason and engineering for Vibers. Any focuses, foci, foco, what's its? that he would like to
Power
apply.
systems?
Power systems? Okay, if you're approaching it from that angle, yeah, sure. Trying to get everybody's ideas to mash together. So, Nova and Edwards are suggesting the engineering means of trying to create these systems. Plort is trying to parry, or parse, I should say, the idea of converting a weapon system, and Vipers is trying to put it all together.
Making sure it doesn't explode.
Yeah, and that the power systems of a torpedo can cope with what they're being asked to do. 3 successes from Vipers. On top of that is 6 in total. Blimey, that was a lot of progress for one day. Alright, so the main hurdle you guys have been attacking here is how to fit an electronic warfare system, which will mean an independent computer system, inside of a torpedo whose casing will more than likely have to be structurally reinforced and have a power system on board that can power the computer and the propulsion, and then have enough power left over for deploying the hologrammatical means by which your little weapon has to actually work. So, progress. Progress. At the moment it was mostly tinkering with ideas and seeing if the maths add up, and so far some interesting ideas and some interesting maths. Okay, so we will... Yeah, we will leave that
fit,
there.
just pack it harder. Mr. Claude, smash it down.
I put a Claude idea into Discord of how it could be used in diplomatic procedures in tense situations.
You could go the other way and take part of the power cell for the hologrammatic part out and just have it use the ship it's attacking or attaching to as a power source to power it.
No, because then it loses power and it's not as useful.
It uses power from tapping into a ship?
No, if the target has no power...
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
Alright then. Well, things to consider. Plenty of things to consider. Okay, so... tonight's episode is episode 32, titled We Are the Stars That Sing With Our Lives. This takes place 2 weeks after the previous episode, which was the episode where everybody's minds were in different bodies. So that whole kerfuffle has long since been dealt with, and Andrews has of course made her ascension to captain of the Navis, and as we've already noted, certain folks have also been promoted to first officer. So as a result of Kano Vipers becoming first officer, I took the liberty of making his trusted second-in-command in engineering become your new chief engineer. As such, he got a promotion out of it. Lieutenant Commander Ikran Bravo is now chief of engineering. I also was nice and gave Ensign Keshen a promotion, so your communications officer is now Lieutenant Junior Grade Keshen. Who else did I give a promotion to? Ensign Lenny, who is usually Caval's understudy on the helm. He's been given a promotion from Ensign to Lieutenant Junior Grade. Likewise, Natik has also been given a promotion to Lieutenant Junior Grade. Because let's face it, he's been working hard, bless him. And he is the possessor of the Natik attack.
It's true.
Can kill a man with one punch.
Yeah.
Well, he has to pick up the slack now that the Bravos are unbalanced.
They all have to now get promoted.
The Bravo bomb is now unstable.
Well, this was a question I wanted to ask you, actually. Do you think, because I wasn't entirely sure, but since some of these supporting characters of ours have been making regular reoccurrences, I thought it nice to give them some of them promotions. So, do we want to promote Lieutenant Bravo Chief of Security?
I'd like to, but I don't want to go around and just promote everyone.
No, it's fine. But, Bravo has pretty much been lieutenant since the second episode that he appeared.
Yeah.
So...
I think, I'd promote Security Bravo, especially because of the relationship that Andrews and him have, where sort of like he was her second.
Yeah.
Is that he's earned the rank.
Cool. Dr. Bertram, well, Nurse Bravo, being a medical professional, kind of holds a high-ish rank anyway. Technically still lieutenant, but would Bertram want to put Nurse Bravo forward for a promotion as well?
Honestly, the way Bertram thinks, he'd probably consider it if she'd have to indicate to him he had an interest in it. I don't know why I said she, because
Bertram gets surrounded by she's so many for so much of his time.
Jenny's on his mind. She's wormed her way in.
Yeah.
It's kind of thing that Bertram probably wouldn't recognise there was sort of like requirement unless it's pointed out to him, because he's kind of one-track minded in case no one's noticed.
Yes, indeed.
He'd be completely supportive if it was pointed out to him, but he's probably not going to actually recognise it on his own.
Yeah, I think...
Imagine most of his promotions have kind of like been surprises to him, going, oh yeah, that's a thing in Starfleet.
I think we keep Nurse Bravo and Astronavigation Bravo as lieutenant.
Well, yeah, that was just a background character, but at least Nurse Bravo has actually been used before as a supporting character, so...
Yeah, but not as much as the other two.
Quite. Quite.
Wow,
Okie dokie.
There's got to be one, he has been the tactical officer, and,
Well, yeah, if you want to promote Claude.
Of course I want to promote Claude.
Of course you want to promote
I want Claude as my first officer,
I'm not like suggesting he'd ever do it, but when passing out promotions, perhaps Andrews wants to be aware that one of Nurse Bravo's focuses is cybernetics. So I think we might be working out who keeps the cybernetics working, all right?
Hint, nudge. Okay.
Nice eye you got there. Be a shame if something happened to it.
All right then. Well, without any further ado, let us move towards today's Captain's Log, and we get to make it official. Webby, take it away.
Captain's Log, Stardate 50660.1. A priority message from Starfleet commanders deployed us to Alpha Toryiu system to rendezvous with the USS Mogami to assist in the evacuation of the team of archaeologists and several unique ancient artefacts from below the surface of the Second World. Whilst in transit, however, we are making a brief rendezvous with the newly refitted USS Farragut in order to pick up our two newest crew members.
And I'm going to take us to the transporter room. And we find... wrong rank. Why is that the wrong rank? Tisk. Tisk. Why didn't that translate?
You're being promoted whether you want it or not.
We find ourselves in transporter room 1.
Captain Lechude.
Lieutenant Gregory Lechude, who passed by every promotion he was offered with a scoff. Captain Andrews and Commander Vipers have just entered, and Lechude just gives Andrews the nod, letting her know that the two passengers are ready to be beamed over.
Just before we beam them aboard, Commander, Lieutenant, do you know that 2 crates that were brought on board via transport have gone missing? Some high-performance lubricating oil and some warp nacelle degreaser.
Oh, I couldn't possibly comment on what the engineering folks do with their degreasers, sir.
I'll make sure that's looked into, Captain.
Yeah, it's better.
Obviously, we've got an inventory problem in engineering.
Better to make sure that they are recovered or destroyed, Commander, especially with your role as first officer.
Yes,
you can both thank Lieutenant Commander Natala.
Damn it, I knew she was up to something. I mean, yes, sir. Of course, sir. Look into it immediately, sir. Number
Energize, Mr. Lechude.
Yeah, of course, Captain. Right away. And our 2 newest members of the crew emerge on the transporter pad. Of course, one particular.
Mike's character.
Mike's character, thank you. It didn't update. Dang it, that's just cheeky. Well...
I approve of the name.
I am Mike's character.
I am Mike's... I told you it would happen, didn't I, Mike? I actually said this was going to happen.
You did say it was going to happen.
It's right there. I forgot to do it. That's me. That's me all over.
It makes sense because his medical file is from the planet Metagamia.
Yeah. That was his homeworld.
Yeah, forget your entire backstory that we made, Mike. We got a new one for you right now. It's like Tron. You're actually somebody from outside suddenly finding themselves in a role-playing game.
Awesome.
Dude, transport us off by at least 2 realities.
Whoops. Phase discriminators are out of alignment again. Excuse me, Captain.
Mr. Latude, this is 2 incidents in as many months.
Captain, I think I found where one of those greasers was. Seems like a transporter all along.
I knew that Natala was up to something.
Not buffer number 5.
Oh dear. Well, that's fine. We get all these mistakes out at the start, and we go from there. Any hoops. Let me try and recover some semblance of dignity out of this. Too late.
I was going to say, dignity doesn't really become you.
And the tumbleweed.
Thanks.
Yeah, I saw the tumbleweed. I definitely saw that tumbleweed then. It was like,
wearing the operation colours, Lieutenant Danielle Stevens emerges from the transporter pad with her engineering kit in tow, and of course has a big beaming smile for the captain.
yeah,
Captain?
Vibers and Latude will notice that there's a very similar. There's a lot of similarity between the 2 of them.
Except for the whole cybernetics taking up half of her
Yeah.
face thing.
Lieutenant Stevens, welcome aboard the USS Navis. This is Commander Kano Vibers, my first officer.
I've heard a lot about you, Commander.
Nothing
Oh.
good, I presume.
That depends entirely on who you cite as my sources, sir. Pretty much eager to get going if that's alright, Captain, Commander, sirs.
Of course, Lieutenant. I'm pretty sure that you will be able to find your quarters, but if you have any issues, please do not hesitate to ask.
They have been reading up on the Navis's layout, Captain, so I'm pretty sure I know the way. Unless, of course, you've changed anything else since I've last looked at the records. Oh, hell. I mean, not that you changed the ship in any irregularity, sir. It's just that...
Map number 7, ship's main guide. You'll find it.
Thank you, sir. Really grateful for that save, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Lieutenant Bravo will be looking forward to seeing you when you report in down in engineering.
Thank you, sir. That's the door to transporter room one closes. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Liku Ore can now step off of the transporter pad.
I can't control it.
You can't move, so let's have a look. Let me just check your
What did you do?
ownership. Nope, you've got default ownership.
I can move everybody.
Okay, this is one of those tricks. If you want to deselect the tokens that you've got selected, click, hold, and drag on an empty space on the map. It should create a nice drawn box for you, and then when you release it, should deselect everybody that you had selected previously. I'm just going to move everybody to one side. Whoop, there we go. And then deselect.
Jude,
Just like that.
You can disable the quarantine.
If you want to left click and hold on your character token and drag them to where you want them to be, then release. There we go.
Lieutenant, alright. I've heard a lot about you. Admiral Tannenbaum.
Really?
Admiral Heber recommended you personally for this mission and for joining the crew of the Navis.
I'm very happy to be here. He smiles very warmly, reaches his hand out, offers to shake.
He notices that Lieutenant Lechude is kind of surreptitiously leaning forward and seems to be sniffing.
Oh, I've taken my shots. I shouldn't be giving off the pheromones. If that's what you're picking up on.
No, I was just about to comment that you don't smell at all like what I expected, so it explains it. I mean, thank you, sir, for indulging.
I also showered before I came over.
Nice to know, sir. I will log that for future. Lechude notices that Andrews is giving him the eye. I'm shutting up now, sir.
Welcome aboard, Lieutenant. As I said, this is Commander Kano Vibers, my first officer. You've now had the privilege of Lieutenant Lechude, our transporter chief.
Charmed, sir.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for welcoming me aboard. I look forward to serving.
I assume that you would like direction to your quarters, or are you as familiar with Lieutenant Stevens on the
I am
layout
not.
of the Navis?
I did not read up as much as I should have. I had my head in some research. I've been poking about for a while. I would appreciate some directions if anyone has time. Otherwise, I could double down the hall until I find it.
Well, at that particular point in time is when the doors to the transporter room open, and a Lieutenant Alex Monod, who appears to be laden down with many, many data pads, as he's trying carefully not to let them spill, comes in through the door. Aha! Sorry I'm late. I had to collect all the, for the... Sorry, sir, Captain, Commander, and hello. Lieutenant Ori, I'm Lieutenant Alex Monod. I'm going to be your co-chief on science. So it's my job to bring you up to speed, sir. I mean, kind of, sir. Mostly, sir. You are chief, and I'm kind of I'm really gonna try and be quiet now, sir.
He's new at the job. Give him a week.
Yeah. Well, as you can see, and he starts to try and hand over some of this mountain of data pads to Liku. Lieutenant Commander Natala had a few things left for the replacement to peruse. If you could just take these from me.
I always thought Natala was good at paperwork.
Yeah, which means that
I've
I've had a bit of a time keeping up with her level of paperwork. Come on, Captain, sir. Sorry.
Absolutely. Perhaps we could consolidate some of these files so we don't have to carry so many pads around with us.
Oh, thank God. I mean, yes, sir.
Seems so
Well-
much egregious that we carry that many around.
Lieutenant Monod, would you be kind enough to escort the lieutenant to his new quarters, help make sure that he's settled in, and then the two of you can start the arduous task of trying to replace the role that was Lieutenant Commander Natala?
Oh, sure. No problem, sir. Lieutenant, if you'd like to follow me, we're going to have to make a quick pit stop at the main science labs so we can drop off most of this, and I can introduce you to our various departments that you're going to be having to manage as the chief. And then I can show you to the bridge.
It's my pleasure. Captain, Commander, thank you. I appreciate the welcome.
Alrighty.
And then-
So, needless to say, Lieutenant Ori is shown to the main science labs, which are on, if I recall... For some reason, I want to say they're on deck 8. I'm possibly wrong there.
Nothing happens on deck 3.
No, that's storage. Oh no, wait! If I remember, the primary science labs are on deck 4. There we are, and the junior and senior officers' quarters are on deck 4 as well. So the chief of science doesn't have very far to go.
Matt.
Yo.
Question. as per normal, are the new arrivals going to be making a stop in sickbay for tests
yes.
and the blood tests?
Oh yeah, good
yeah,
point.
I should have said that.
Very
Yes,
good
thank you.
point.
Yeah, yeah, they will be asked to report for blood screening.
Well, he's got Lieutenant Monod flanking him, so they'll probably dump all the data pads and stuff in the science labs first. Monod will introduce Liku to the various semi-heads of the different science branches that he's now got overall command of. And then it'll be a trip to sickbay, which, funnily enough, is all on Deck 4, so, like I said, you don't have very far to walk. So, that's a good point. Anything else that folks think should be brought up before I forget? Nope, alrighty. Well, as you'll be no doubt pleased to learn, both Lieutenant Danielle Stevens and Lieutenant Liku Orai pass the blood screening test and do not appear to be shapeshifters.
Good.
Are we told that?
I presume you are told that, yes.
No, they failed the blood screening. They're human.
And I was going to say, Bertram, like, he tells like you failed, but shh, and just walks off. The hidden infiltration is the Doctor the whole time.
Are you suggesting that most of my plots are derived from Deep Space Nine?
No
Now-
consequences?
I can neither confirm nor deny this suspicion, of course, but how dare you? Ish. Anyway,
I dare?
and dare to be. Alrighty, so it was a brief introduction, but nevertheless, yes, Lieutenant Monod is going to be Liku's second. So whenever Monod handles the science department when whilst Orai is busy at the bridge. Only senior officers are allowed on the bridge with impunity, at the very least. On board an Akira class, there are security procedures where if you're not a member of the bridge crew, then you tend to have to pass through a security check, which is usually outside of the individual access doors to the bridge itself.
That's why we don't have a night shift. Because they can't get through security.
And yes, we'd just like to draw your attention to the phaser lockers are here, and here, and here, and here. The emergency release for the bridge to become a lifeboat is here.
And over here is the sonic weapon that you're not allowed to touch unless you're signed off with it.
Yeah, you need training on the sonic weapon first before you can actually use it.
Out of interest, just how far behind on paperwork is Vibers already?
That's
Viper's
entirely up to
actually up
Davis.
to date on his paperwork. It's inventory management he's running behind on. I'm going to out behind.
Just can't find this. Can't find these two crates that have just disappeared.
So, as per usual...
Oh, I can find them. I'm just trying to shuffle up what I need to replace them.
When it comes to fibers and paperwork, I imagine he's just got like one of those drinking birds, but he's just put it on a pad to say yes to everything.
He's not Homer Simpson. Oh God! Oh no!
Well, now we're
Andrew's
getting that
gonna have
mental
to
image,
screen
aren't we?
Andrews is going to have to screen every single report because Nova's going to submit hers honestly. Vibers is just going to say, "Yeah, it looks good enough."
Are we
No,
suggesting
Nova's
that you're
reports
second guessing? Sorry, go on, Davis.
Nova reports are the ones that go for captain's approval. Everything else says good enough.
So,
I've got a forged note from a doctor that says I'm not allowed to read these.
funnily enough, that doctor was not Dr. Bertram. But, anyway,
If
just
I
so...
printed it for him, it wouldn't have been forged.
You could have got away with just ending it though. You've got doctors who are not allowed to read.
So as the layout on the bridge suggests, the rearmost portions of the bridge are usually given over to engineering and science. Bertram isn't necessarily on the bridge, but if he were to be called to the bridge, then he can co-opt a a terminal here and have it access medical data and stuff like that. Likewise, when Ori himself is not actively being on the bridge, Mono or one of Ori's subordinates can take his place as a sensor operator on the bridge. The guys at the back here who are usually in engineering might not necessarily be on the bridge. They're more than likely down in engineering, but if they were on the bridge, then the engineering station is back here, so that is where they would be. So I like to keep folks' tokens available when I can. So just as an explanation, if folks are on the bridge, token-wise, they might not necessarily be actually on the bridge. It's just to make it easier to access your character. Okay. So, with that in mind, we find ourselves in transit to the Alpha Toryiu system now that you have said your farewells to the refitted Farragut and speed off to the Alpha Toryiu system. Now, Alpha Toryiu is in the Shackleton Expanse, but rather than go through the rigmarole of going through the various different astrological phenomena that you have to overcome in order to get into the Shackleton Expanse, you're familiar enough with it now that I won't call for any tests in that regard, and as such you make pretty good time into the Alpha Toryiu system. So
what do we know about the Alpha Toryiu system?
Aha, very good question. So, reading up on Alpha Toryiu, you get that it's a 3-planet system with a giant red star, which appears to be reaching the end of its lifespan. Federation scientists were apparently very interested in the Alpha Toryiu star because it's the initial probes sent into the Alpha Toryiu system suggested that the star shows evidence of being far too young to be reaching the last stages of its existence. And so civilian science teams, accompanied by some Starfleet personnel, were deployed to Alpha Toryiu system in order to investigate. What they... let me read my notes here. Some researchers suggest maybe an ancient species had performed some kind of stellar re-engineering project for some unknown purpose, which would fit with the civilian science team on Starbase 364 under Dr. Helena Taliaferro, who are looking to try and find all these instances of weird ancient alien tampering in the Expanse. But initial surveys of the 3 rocky worlds that orbit Alpha Toryiu didn't show any signs of habitation or terraforming. But that changed when a civilian team of astronomers and engineers apparently were surveying the surface of the 2nd planet in order to put an observatory down. And while they took core samples of the bedrock, they broke through into an underground complex, apparently, that was identified as artificial. And they have since been investigating those tunnels, those artificially made tunnels, ever since. But recently, as the captain's log suggested, there has been a request for evacuation of the team of archaeologists and scientists from the planet, as well as taking all of their valuable archaeological data and artifacts. So that is where you are racing to. And as you... Right, sorry, go on.
I was like, do we have any images of basically what they found?
Not yet, because they haven't gone back to the station yet to file their findings.
If they are requesting emergency evacuation, have they suggested the reasoning behind it? Have they said that the star is showing signs of destabilization?
No. They've said that the planet, the 2nd planet, has started showing signs of destabilization. However, Well, actually, no. Any other questions before I continue? Okay. So, you exit from warp, enter into the Alpha Toryiu system, and I'll just give you a little look-see-loo of where you find yourselves. So, the Alpha Toryiu system, as you can see, is a system made up primarily of 3 rocky planets and a star. Already in system, as well as yourselves now, is another ship, the USS Mogami, the one that you were brought here to assist. The Mogami is a Calypso-class ship, and specializes in science and survey operations. Yes, so the Navis is a size grade up from the Mogami, but nevertheless, you imagine the main reason you were called is because of the Akira class. You're the nearest ship of the Akira class, which means you are speedy and also have those very capacious shuttle bays. So you can definitely, you're definitely the ones to call for an assist when it comes to evacuating folks, which, you know, you've done plenty of these jobs before.
Yes. Do you know roughly how many scientists are on planet?
Enough for it to be an administrative headache. Well, you're gonna probably have to ask the captain of the Mogami yourself. Speaking of which, there comes in a computer alert as we get Lieutenant Keshen. If I can just switch my voice changer over. Anytime you want to be. There we go.
The captain of the Mogami is requesting communication, Captain.
Open channel, Lieutenant.
Okie dokie, so the fellow we meet on the view screen, I'm just going to throw him in here. Never displayed? Why never displayed? The Tellarite captain of the Mogami fills the view screen. And what time do you call this?
I forgot the Tellarites are very brief, aren't they?
About what we said we would, Captain.
I see. Well, you brought your piecemeal ship with you. She is within shipshape and ready to receive evacuees, I trust.
I'm assuming you can fit more than 10.
Let's not trade insults, shall we, Commander?
Actually, Lieutenant Ori can probably tell you that his former captain, who's on the screen right now, is actually very fond of trading insults. That's how That's how he shows he's friendly.
Baku shakes his head vigorously.
Okay, if that's the case then I'm pretty sure that this pathetic little ship that is now in orbit in front of us can give us a lowdown of how they've so far not managed to secure the crew of the archaeological dig. Captain.
Ooh.
Captain Fortok manages to look past Captain Andrews to Lieutenant Ori standing just over her left shoulder. I see you've been giving her pointers, Ori. Nice.
Yes, sir. It's good to see you, sir.
That'll be a first.
Okay, I lied.
That's more like it. As to your comment, Captain Andrews, this pathetic little ship of ours has been managing fine so far with getting the majority of things off of the planet, but as you can see, we lack the space to be able to accommodate them safely and swiftly, which was why you and your cobbled-together piece of scrap have been brought in. So, if you would be so kind as to pull up alongside in standard orbit, we can begin operations immediately, and I can put you in touch with the 2 people in charge of operations here. I'll have them either communicate with you or beam over to your ship, whichever it is you prefer. However, I will say this. We've been experiencing transporter troubles as of late. There's a lot of ion interference in the system, so we're having to rely almost exclusively on shuttlecraft at the moment, which was why we requested somebody such as yourselves.
I see. Well, thank you, Captain. I assume that you've tried pattern enhancers and it's having no discernible effect on the situation.
So far, nothing. But the sheer number of items and personnel and material that we'd have to transport between us and the surface, or rather the other way around, means that the pattern enhancers would get worn out pretty quickly. Either way, now that we have more manpower available, we might be able to pull this off in the time necessary. Well,
Understood, Captain.
I can't sit around here all day. I've got to keep on coordinating efforts over this end. See you when you get into orbit. And he signs off.
Well, Mr. Cavall, standard orbit.
Okie dokie. So, just as Cavall is about to engage the heading for standard orbit, the ship rocks. So, if I can just everybody give me a short Star Trek wobble, either on your seat or on your cursor or on your token. I don't care. And yes. Those who are watching sensors, so that means Nova on operations, Claught on tactical, and Ore on sensors, all get notes that... actually, no, Thazanan will also get this. That the ship was just hit by a gravitational wave. So far, all it did was just rock you about a little bit. No damage done, nobody injured, nothing like that, just a gentle rock. But a gravitational wave just issued from the star.
What type of star is this? You have the dial on that?
I did have it in my notes somewhere. Where was it? Well,
OBAFGKM are the star classifications. If it's red giant, it's probably going to be a G.
There you go then.
K or G standard star. Is it super? Is it a super giant? Red giant?
No, just a red giant.
Yeah, probably a G or a G or a K.
So, as you are approaching the second planet, is there anything you would like to do?
I think we should do a sensor sweep of the area if we haven't done that yet.
You can do, indeed. In fact, let's make that your first official job as Chief of Science and Sensor Operator. So then, Mike, if you can open up your character sheet and give me a control and science check. Let's see, what focuses have you got here?
Computers. Computer.
I'll allow... let's see. Actually, hang on a second, let me make some... I'm absolutely sure I'm not going to get this wrong. For the moment, yeah, computers as a focus will do, because all you're doing is just using the sensors to see what's going on, so that's fine. If I can get... let's go with... Sean, can you be the Navis for me, please? We're looking at sensors and science for the Navis. So, 1 dice for the Navis, 2 dice for Lieutenant Ori, if you please. There's the Navis. Real good. Good. 2 successes, 3 in total. Definitely over and above what you needed, so that's 2 extra there. Cool. So there is indeed a large amount of ion interference being generated by the star at the moment, which is making things a little bit difficult. But...
Is that going to interfere with transporters?
You might well do, yes. Transporters might not be entirely a safe option at this present moment in time due to the ionic interference.
Do we know how often the gravitational waves are hitting and what the intensity of them are?
At the moment, the intensity of the last one was pretty minor, but the interesting thing you find is that usually, because especially since Ori just probably ran a standard scan, and included with this is a pretty standard scan of the star. Now, Starfleet at this point has gotten really good at developing the science to be able to predict when a star will collapse within a pretty high degree of certainty. But it seems that it's difficult getting an accurate reading on this star as far as how old it is and how close it is to gravitational collapse. Something seems to be interfering with scans. And I'm sure it didn't escape anybody's notice that there are indeed these strange satellites around the star itself.
Did we pick up data on those during the scan?
Well, not that one, but what you did pick up was rather strange. As well as getting some interference on being able to accurately, predict when the star will collapse, the orientation of those satellites around the star, and I'll bring back the map just so you can see for yourselves what I'm talking about. The orientation of these satellites is rather odd, because you would imagine that these things are being kept in orbit of the star by the star's own gravitational field, but they're off kilter. The ones on this side are further away from the star, whereas these ones on this side are closer. And when Ori reads the sensor data, there's a shadow somewhere within the star that the sensors can't penetrate or get a good read on. But the orientation of these satellites suggests that it's the sensor shadow that these satellites are aligned to, which suggests that whatever that sensor shadow is, it's got mass. And therefore gravity.
Lieutenant Nova, is it worth assisting Lieutenant Morai to see whether this is potentially Tilical technology?
I was actually going to say, would I be able to get with to start cross-referencing at least the design of those, or at least how the appearance, I should say, with previous encountered Tilical designs and architectural technology, that kind of thing.
Certainly, the more help, the merrier. I mean, tinkering technology. I mean, Nova has had pretty much literally hands-on experience with the gubbins of Tilical technology, as has Edwards. So they would be very useful if someone was to try and run a sensor sweep of all of this.
Absolutely, let's do it.
Alrighty, so I'm just gonna whiz my notes over. So we're not doing that. We are exploring the debris field. So those who are basically, who's going to be the primary here? Who thinks they should be primary? Do we think Nova should be primary? Do we think Ori should be primary? Do we think Edwards should be primary?
I was thinking Ori, as he's actually already on the scanners, he'd be feeding us the information.
Yeah,
At least that's in my
more-
mind.
It's more now actually processing the information. So I think one of the two that's actually had experience on Tilical technology would probably be more suited
Now,
to actually be the lead on it.
We both
Alright.
got tinkering. I do have the trait for familiarity with them.
okay.
But I'm happy to, if Sean wants to be the lead,
Yeah.
I'm happy to be a backup.
No, go for it.
Okay. So it seems we're going with Edwards as primary and Ori and Nova as aiding. So, I am going to ask you guys for, let me see, reason and science or reason and engineering, whichever you prefer. Obviously, some will have more preferences over others. Now, as far as focuses go, let me see. Ori... Could use xenoanthropology, actually. Because, like Edwards, would be studying the layout of the thing rather than the actual gubbins itself. Edwards obviously has xenoarchaeology and ancient technology, so you can use either of those. Nova almost always uses tinkering, but also inner workings, and she's got direct experience with Tilical tech, so any focus you fancy applying, basically, Sean. So, Alex, did you just roll your main?
Yep.
Cool. So, Mike, you're rolling 1 dice because you're assisting. Do you need me to take you through it, or are you good? You got it. No problems. Oh, it was almost a 19. But that's a heck of a lot of successes. 2, 4, 6. All the successes. Whoa. Alright, you learn a heck of a lot of information. Alright. So that's basically what you 3 guys are going to be up to initially, is researching and analyzing this stuff, which leaves other people to investigate other things if they so desire. So before we get there, let's see what you found out. The wreckage, because that's what it appears to be, a lot of this is broken stuff, around the star appears to be composed of tritanium alloys, geranium, and polyduranide, all of which are fairly standard materials found on modern starships. As I've already noted, the orbit of the wreckage seems to be off-center of the star's mass in such a way as to suggest a second high-mass object. However, no object can be detected where other mass should be in order to account for the orbits. The wreckage seems to have once been gravitationally bound to the strange sensor shadow in the star. This could be the strange mass that's affecting the orbits of the satellite debris, but it seems to not really be there, just, well, a hole. But with all those successes, something you do catch, and it was a blink and you nearly missed it kind of moment, was that there was a flicker of power in some of the wreckage during a flare event which strikes the Navis with another light gravitational wave. And it seems like there may be some working equipment in that debris field. Now, if that's true, why didn't the science teams pick up on it? And if they didn't, why didn't they? Questions abound. Now, while these guys are doing that, and considering the ramifications of what they've just found, is anybody else engaging in anything else? I will maybe actually suggest that maybe it might be a good idea for somebody to bring in Commander Fazanan to help work on seeing if you can predict when the star might collapse based on its current deterioration rate, because Cabal does have astronavigation and such, so he is aware of astrological phenomena. But you also have secondary members of the science team, like Lieutenant Mono, and if I can find her, I think it's Eric, but I might be wrong. Eric has got stellar phenomena, Ensign Fizal does not. So yeah, it's Ensign Jenny, Eric that could assist.
Kirst's got the
Kirst has got sensors, computers, electrical engineering, and emergency investigation specialist.
That could be a potential one as well instead. Jenny, but yeah.
So, do you want to go with those four, or do you think somebody shouldn't be there? What do you want to do?
I'm fine with the 4. Don't roll a 20, Caval. What's a scratch on the Navis again?
I'll let you know this is the Fantastic Four. I'm blue after all.
Well, exactly. So, does Fazanan want to take the lead on this, or would he defer to someone like Mono and just aid?
I think whoever's got stellar phenomena should probably lead, and I'll aid.
Astrological phenomena for Mono, stellar phenomena for Eric. Two pretty much the same thing, so we'll probably go with Mono being lead on that since he's co-chief. Since he's co-chief, we can probably... Who hasn't rolled at the moment? So we got you, Jan, you're going to be rolling as Thazanan. We've got Webby, who hasn't really rolled for much, so you can roll as somebody. Alex, you've just rolled. Gareth, you can roll as your lovely assistant, Jenny Eric.
Okay. Davis hasn't rolled much either.
Davis hasn't rolled either, so we can do Cursed. If we're all agreeable.
Yeah, well.
So, investigating the star is going to be reason and science with all applicable stuff. For Caval, you can make it reason and con instead, because Fazanan's approaching it from the side of, you know, having to navigate or potentially pick an escape route that involves surfing gravitational waves, so I'll allow that. For Fazanan. Otherwise, it's
lead, you said.
Mono should be lead, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So if the assistants want to roll first, so Fazanan, Kirst, and Eric. Eric gets 2 successes. Blimey, successes are piling up tonight.
Focus of sensors.
Yes, that'll probably help.
What did I say earlier?
For cursed sensors, probably.
No. For the about the Navis, we don't do complications.
Well, exactly. Everybody just moved a step to the
out,
right.
I'd like to point out that 14 hovered on the flipping 20.
It did.
As soon as I said that.
I'll take everybody a step to the left. Since we just took a step to the right. A jump to the right, rather.
Put your hands on your hips.
So if you've got your character selected, or more than one character selected or more, remember that you can click, hold, drag and draw a box in an empty space, and when you release it should deselect whatever you've got selected. If you don't want to accidentally move more than one character.
Yeah, Mike.
Beg pardon?
I said, yeah, Mike, stop it.
God, Mike.
First day on the job, already causing trouble? I don't know. No, that was good. Let me see. So we got Jenny, we got Fazanan, we got Fazanan doing 2 successes, as always, but Eric got 2 as well. Blimey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Criminy day. Alrighty. Alright, so whilst these 4 guys are starting to collate the astrological data, yeah, when you finally get the numbers back, the news really does not appear to be good. You get the impression that the four of them get the impression that that sensor shadow might very well be compressing the stellar matter of the star and therefore accelerating the collapse. So with that in mind, you reckon that the star will likely go into gravitational collapse in 11 hours. The problem is that current estimations so far put the evacuation rescue mission taking an estimated 18 hours. So, with that in mind, what would you like to do now?
Well, I think that we relay those findings to Starfleet and request immediate assistance. So potentially we don't have enough time to complete the evacuation. And then also make contact with both the not the Mogami, it's the Mogami, isn't it?
The Mogami is the name of the ship, yep.
Yeah, the Mogami and the leaders of the science to get them all in one conversation to explain what the situation is.
Well, if you want, you do have access to people who are the leads as far as the archaeological. What's the word I'm looking for? Expedition, and the attempts to evacuate them out. You do have access to those two of those people.
Right, Captain, while we're making that decision, can I advise we get our shuttles and the Carpathian launched and starting to shuttle people up to appropriate ships while we're deciding?
Jan, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, Captain, being a paranoid bastard, I find it interesting that the team from the second planet requested immediate evacuation, and then suddenly we realized this star is going to go bad earlier than expected. We have some experience with triggering calamities in solar systems. I wonder if debriefing of those archaeologists might be, or that team, that scientific team, might be a good idea.
What do you think?
I'm completely on board with this. It's a wise suggestion.
Well, it is a common thing of certain telecal technologies to use interstellar bodies for one thing or another, as power or just various type of experiments. So I think the idea is they might have just, to speak out loud the obvious, they tripped something on an installation that's done something to what's going on around the sun.
Entirely possible.
Are we able to tap into those satellites orbiting?
I didn't quite catch that, Mike. You're sounding a bit muffled. Can you say that again, please?
Are we able to tap into the satellites that are orbiting the sun?
Tap into...
Like access to computers?
You can try.
Okay.
But considering that the power fluctuation you got was very, very minor, it's entirely possible there's not much to actually tap into at present.
Any data we could get would be helpful.
You can give it, absolutely, you can give it a go.
Yeah. Last time we dealt with telecal technology, it was on the planet that was affecting the star around it.
Well, is that something he would have heard about in his archaeological and anthropological studies?
You mean Likuore himself?
Right.
Well, this is the thing. So far, what they're talking about here, the telecal technology, is something that's been limited very much to those who have been stationed at Starbase 364. Because Narendra Station was set up with the... It seems to have been set up with the intention of pretty much primarily investigating the Shackleton Expanse. So Lieutenant Ori would have had previous knowledge of various archaeological digs hither and yon about, but as far as anything specific to the Tilical or anything like that, this is probably something he's only read about in slight debriefs, but the civilian science arm of Starbase 364 rather jealously guard their findings, as Lieutenant Edwards would be able to attest.
Well, does he have to ask permission to do scans or anything like that, or?
He can if he really wants to, but being the chief science officer, I suppose at the very least all you do is give your captain or commanding officer courtesy and say permission to conduct scans, Captain, or some such.
Right. Well, I'll turn to the captain and give Captain permission to conduct further scans upon the satellites orbiting the sun.
Okay.
Permission granted.
Thank you.
So...
Can he use an insight and science?
Absolutely he can.
Okay.
And the ship can probably help you with this, so who hasn't rolled for a bit? Gareth. Give me sensors and engineering, if you could, please, from the Navis.
I would definitely be using computers as a focus.
Sure.
But could I use my computer expertise in that also?
Aha, let's have a look. Whenever you attempt a task that improves programming or study, you gain a bonus d20. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So that means you get to roll 3 dice rather than 2.
Okay. Excellent.
Okay.
Yikes! That's what happens when you act on your feelings.
Okay, let me think. Your sensor scan doesn't turn up anything new. In fact, you don't manage to replicate the ability to scan that flicker of a power signature. What you can tell is that there are some, maybe, structural similarities to the historical... the historical sensor records that this ship has. So I took your use of Ori's computer focus as a means of trying to access historical sensor records of this ship to see if it matches anything the ship has been up against before. There are loose similarities to other things, but the difficulty is that there's interference being generated by the star in the system. There's this weird sensor ghost or shadow or whatever it is, and the satellites are all pretty broken. So it's difficult to tell which, if any of them, had a power spark. But there certainly don't appear to be any active computer systems to break into or access whatsoever when it comes to that field of debris. So at least in that, you've discovered that there's no active computer presence or anything like that that would suggest a working apparatus that might, I don't know, activate a sudden security protocol just on the cuff. There's no sign of any kind of that kind of activity whatsoever from this debris ring. At the moment, it just seems to be just lots of junk.
Do we know what the satellites are? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I missed that, but
what they're for, you have no idea.
Okay, and they don't appear to be having any sort of decaying orbit around the sun, or?
Ooh, very good point. No, they don't. And considering that they're slightly off tilt,
right, and no power that we can ascertain.
No power that you can currently ascertain. No.
The sun's emitting parametric pulses. It's rapidly going towards extinction. That shadow probably is playing a role in all of this, and the satellites are not decaying somehow. Thank you.
Okay,
Captain,
so...
I have very little information. My apologies.
No, that's fine. That was a lot of information you needed to get. So, anything else anybody else wants to do, or should I collate what we've got so far? Alright, collation it shall be. So, you gotta sense the shadow. The star will probably collapse in 11 hours. Rescue mission is still estimated to take 18. The debris field is made up of stuff that looks similar potentially to Tilical technology, but like we've just noted, is not displaying any kind of active constant power signal, so not sure what's going on there. And that's pretty much all you've... Oh, there is one thing that I forgot to mention, and this will be for Nova and Ori. Ever since you came into the system, and the closer you got to the star, the more you started hearing. I don't know if you can hear that. Every now and again, there are these strange whispering sounds that you can not hear, sense.
Okay. What does it feel like?
You're not sure. It's like you're hearing like a whisper, a whispering voice. You can't tell what the voice is trying to say. You can't quite tell. It doesn't sound close.
So this is telepathic? We could assume?
You think so.
Does it
Because
feel
it's like
familiar?
Nova. Yes, it does. There's definitely something about it that does feel very familiar to Nova.
Oh no, please don't say it's hello.
Hello is operating normally.
No, other hello.
Oh, other hello, I see, sorry. Alex, you had an idea.
Can I cross-reference the metallurgy of the satellites with what was around that, or at least that made up the points for that gate that pulled in the ship last time?
Idea.
The
Yeah.
thingy 13, whatever, I can't remember. What set off the other admiral when she went a bit spiral into madness? Or did it break? No, it broke her out of madness? That was it. She kept hearing the voices.
Where was that? That was not gravity of the whoopsie-daisy. I've messed up my... Where'd number 6 go?
It goes to Christmas past, okay.
That's weird. I've now... I integrated that into another... I think I have. Whoops! Typically, this is probably the one I'm looking for. It was in the Madrigal system, if I recall. Oh no, you're actually thinking about the one that brought this woman back to... Ooh, is it similar?
It's the metallurgy, as specifically.
Metallurgy side of things, yeah. Ah, this is the one. Soam Satgil. Again, it's debris, and some of the debris, metallurgically speaking, is very similar to, like I noted, starship design, but there are some similarities, yes. Anybody else got anything else they would like to suggest?
Basically forward my findings to the captain and the bridge crew. There might be something interstellar phenomenon as last time.
So, Lieutenant, if this is a familiar feeling, the question then becomes is where was it familiar to?
There was that time, if I can find it. Was it strategic location? No. Was it rescue point? No. It was before all that. It was before... Aha! So, back when you went to the Madrigal system, where you found that artificial satellite, that then somehow opened up a rift in space. That was when you were also, not exactly attacked, but met with that black ship that you're sure are full of Orions.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
And whilst that gateway was open, Nova remembered hearing voices, and then from out of that large fissure in space came these giant hands that grabbed the black ship and the satellite and pulled them in.
Oh god.
That's what I was thinking. Is this a big gateway using the power of the star to, well, yeah, power it?
If it is, we might need to get a closer look because we've lost with our own.
Is it worth sending the Samson out to have a look? It's
Now, with
it's small enough for its weight that it might be able to break free, whereas the Navis might not.
And do we have probes we can deploy?
You do?
That's probably a more sensible plan. I knew we had a science officer for a reason.
See, this is why he's chief science. You know that risky,
Also-
life-threatening thing you were going to do just now? Let's use a probe.
Caval being fine, you know.
They're also not empathetic.
There's that too.
Fine. I was gonna send a few mooks, but sorry.
Yeah. Here's a red shirt and get in the shirt.
Bring in the next layer of ensigns.
Bring on the ensigns.
Can
we've got
probe
to send
collect any of the debris?
we've got to send a named lieutenant.
Someone that's got lines but has never had lines before.
Someone
what you
who's
say.
used to sit in comms and has now been promoted to sit somewhere else.
I'm good.
With expertise in the area, and people have had his name thrown at them quite a lot this episode.
So you're saying you're trying to get rid of the only human on this ship? Right, gotcha.
Really? Really?
No consequences.
No consequences. Okay, so yeah,
Sorry,
you can send a
comment
probe to have a
after.
closer look, absolutely.
Yes, and can it collect any sort of samples of the debris?
It can try.
No. Probes really can't collect, they are just scanning devices.
I was going to say, for the most part, all it can do is do a really close-up
Could we
mineralogical
modify it?
analysis. What was that, sorry?
Could we modify a probe? So that we can put some robotic arms on it.
Yay, little robotic grabby arms!
Hey, what about the screen on the bridge here? What? There's a robot on the bridge. Looks like it's got lots of arms we can use.
That's Hello. Whether or not Nova lets you use Unit Hello to do this.
Sending Unit Hello over there might be a bad idea.
Okay.
Something about it's an AI. It is made from this
Unit
sort of
H31L0 would be happy to aid in this endeavor.
We know you would, hello. That's why you're staying on board.
Very,
We need you.
very happy to link up with that.
Compliance.
Hello was made from something similar to what's going on now.
Hello's original crystal computer core was brought back from a Tilical ruin, or an active Tilical establishment. The chassis of the body, the little robot that's here, is actually the body that's linked to that computer. So this is just like a remote unit for Hello, really. So.
Is it possible to use theories of quantum entanglement to ascertain, based on what we know about Hello and the
If
technology?
there's a link. Interesting. Because if they are made from similar materials or indeed have a similar origin, then there
could
might be some
entanglement
widgy, weird quantum entanglement mathematical nonsense that might be able to give you a yes or a no.
Well, at a subatomic level, there could definitely be entanglement despite this.
I don't think you'd find anything non-Starfleet on this unit.
Yeah, on the unit itself, no, you're probably right. But what
I
about
vaguely-
the cores?
Sorry.
I don't think she'd let me know the course.
Well, there's that. Nova's very
Oh.
possessive about her Tilical cores.
I would say, given the origin of what the main processing unit and its original ways of communication, because effectively it's been adapted, so theoretically it'd still have the ability to contact via its own original frequency.
I'm still not wanting to allow.
Let them talk to each other.
Yes.
I mean, that's what I was reaching for. Of that actually might get a reaction, but then again, I was going to have it with the caveat of this might not be the reaction we want.
Yes.
But it would potentially get a reaction.
Yes. While we still don't actually understand whether it is Tilical technology or not, I don't want us to push too far on it until we can get some ascertained information on what's going on. I don't want to just plug in hello into it, because one, hello is also partially plugged into the ship.
It's not.
Well, okay, it has access to my con officer.
That's it.
It was that one time.
And he
Or is
still
it
has problems with it.
Once is all it takes.
You go to the car, you never go back.
Why would you?
Riku would take out his tricorder and, with permission, take some scans of the bridge and of hello and around hello. Is that okay?
Sure. To what end?
Okay. No. He wants to pick up on any sort of energy fields that may match what's coming from that star or the debris field. Based on his theory of quantum entanglement.
Right. Okay. This is
On some
okay.
quantum level, we do not know what's going on.
All right, I get where you're going. All right, then, give me reason and science with your focus on quantum physics. I'm going to make this difficulty 4.
Okay.
Because this is a reach. It's a good reach.
One die?
So you're still rolling 2 dice, but you're using reason and science with your focus of quantum physics.
Okay.
And just anything else you want to add, really, but you've got to get 4 successes to get anything reasonable out of this.
Well, how about, can I use computer expertise again? Or...
You could. You can also use a point of momentum from the momentum pool to buy an extra dice.
Okay, I would do that and computer expertise.
Okay, then. So that gives you 4 dice to roll.
Okay.
Marvelous. Go for it. Ooh, those are good rolls. One was a 19. Woo! 5 successes, so you got that momentum back. Okay. Alright, alright. This takes a while, though, because you are crunching some very big numbers here. So, effectively, Lieutenant Ori is taking these scans and then probably excusing himself from the bridge temporarily to go down to the science labs, get the most gigantic whiteboard he could possibly replicate, and a really, really good marker pen, dry erase marker pen, and start working out all these complex mathematics. And this will take a bit of time to do. In the end, there will be, from the subatomic analysis of both the Tilical computer cores that Hello is linked to, and the metallurgical and energetic that brief energy analysis you got of the satellites in orbit around the star. There's enough of a similarity on the quantum level, and I'm pulling just gubbins out of my butt here. That
Quantum!
Yes, exactly. You put quantum in front of it and it sounds really fancy. But Yeah, okay. You reckon there's a good chance the technologies are linked, which doesn't necessarily confirm beyond shadow of doubt that this is the same culture, but there's certainly enough similarities to point a very good finger. Now, historically as well, the Navis has come across civilizations who have based their technology on discovered Tilical tech, and other civilizations who have apparently been caretakers of Tilical tech. So it doesn't necessarily point definitely to the Tilical themselves, but to an underlying commonality. And blimey, that was a lot of chat. Whew.
Thank you. I would relay that information to the bridge. Also, I would deploy a probe.
So all of that would have been done by deploying the probe, by getting the tricorder readings, and then getting that massive whiteboard with all the numbers on. And, you know, if Lieutenant Monod has also got some expertise with quantum mechanics, and he'd come in and watch Ori drawing numbers on the whiteboard and going, "Damn, Chief!"
And Edwards can write clean.
Yeah, and when he left the bridge, he was so absorbed in his theory that he forgot to ask permission or say anything. He just walked out.
Yeah, I got numbers to crunch, Captain. Didn't even say that, just walked out.
Just as an aside, we do normally, as a group, ask if it's alright to spend momentum before we do it. And also taking several actions, just ask, rather than...
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's alright, no worries.
But while that was going on, that leads us nicely into what you wanted to do, which was have a conference with the guys doing the stuff on the surface. So some of y'all are going to be unavailable. So once again, it's put Mike's connected there. So I'm going to bring him in out from the one I put. Bring that there. Cool. So Ori isn't actually here in the conference room. Who else was busy doing stuff? I think Edwards might have been.
Would it be okay for me to take a bio break real fast?
Sure.
Okay, since my character is off screen.
Yep, now's a good time to do it. We're going to need Fazanan because he's in charge of coordinating the light craft and stuff like that. I don't think Nova was too involved in anything, unless Nova wants to try and do something in regards to the voices she's hearing.
And I think at this point she'd be looking for the Tilical link, so she'd be looking for any reactions.
So assume those whisperings that you can hear are just for Nova and Ori. Nobody else can hear it, but they are constant. I'm assuming Bravo, Chief Engineer, will be brought in. Now, because you've noted the expediency of the matter, I'm going to assume that instead the two people from the surface you were wanting to talk to are now going to be contacted and therefore be available on the view screen in the conference room. So, the Doctor, I presume, is going to want to be in on the evacuation plan just in case.
I would actually like to bring Kirsten on this as well, because she is a emergency situation specialist.
Cool. I will bring Kirsten. So let's pop her in the chair that her immediate superior would otherwise have occupied. Okay, cool. So you are introduced to Lieutenant Hal Thompson, who is in charge of the Starfleet Corps of Engineers, who are responsible for the disassembling of the various bits of technology down on the planet that the archeological expedition uses, and packing them away and getting them transported back aboard ships. Whereas Dr. Mitchell Al-Malki is the chief of the archeological expedition and is therefore the one in charge of not only his own personnel but also the cataloguing of all the various artifacts and the data that goes along with them. So you have a comm established with them. What would you like to do?
Are we bringing in the Captain the Calypso as well?
The captain will he, as soon as he's asked, he will hand over to Hal Thompson, because technically it's Hal's, and he actually does use the guy's first name. It's actually Hal's operation in regards to the ground operation of shifting people around.
I'd still like the captain to be involved in the actual conversation.
Cool,
so
then I will bring the captain in.
I'm imagining the main cut and thrust of it is going to be what did you trying to get them to tell us what exactly they found.
What did you lick and what did it do?
Where on the dial did you touch?
Oh.
Welcome back.
Do we need the second? Do we need the second box of Nova debrief supplies or box number 3, Captain?
She's got a pack of hand puppets for times like this.
Oh, that's 4. Right.
Damn, son. Okay. Yes. Okay. So
Engineering now has 3 cupboards of Nova supplies. Nova's responsible for one of them.
We don't talk about the port nacelle.
thought it was the starboard nacelle.
It keeps moving.
Both
Touche.
both nacelles are the starboard nacelle now.
Okay.
They are quantum locked with each other.
God damn. Okay then. So
yes.
Go for it.
I think we will be advising them that based on our calculations, we think we have less time than we initially thought. But we also need to understand exactly what technology they found and what they've interacted with, because potentially it could be responsible for the rapid decaying of the star, and whether they are not being completely honest with us of what information they found to date.
Okay, the first one, well, the one to respond in that case is Dr. Al-Malki, and he goes, well, when we conducted our initial geographical survey of the second planet, we discovered, accidentally, of course, when we drilled downwards, the artificial tunnel system. When we entered into the tunnel system, we found evidence of previous civilization, of course, all the various trappings, right angles, statuary, and the like, but the thing that struck us most of all was the entire lack of technology.
We get the great scientific discovery. I want to know exactly what you've interacted with.
Well, that's just it.
We don't have time.
Well, that's just it. We found no technology, no active power sources, nothing at all except statuary and iconography. Those are the only things we interacted with, and therefore have catalogued and brought along with us where we could.
Was anyone dispatched to check on the sap?
No. Initially, this is still Dr. Al-Malki. Initially, our intention on coming to the system was to create a stellar observatory, so we were going to construct it on the star-facing side of the planet, of the second planet, and we would just leave it to collate data. That was our intention. We were never going to venture too close to the star. It would be, well, perilous. And as such, when we discovered the tunnels underneath the surface of the second planet, that became our new focus, and nobody has done anything in regards to the satellites surrounding the star since. He looks off briefly to one side as one of his assistants comes up to him with a data pad. He just hurriedly nods, goes, yes, just go. Just take the stuff and go. Lieutenant Thompson at this point goes, well, your news about the increased deadline is worrying, because we've still got a hell of a lot of personnel and material to move. Even with your extra shuttles, this is going to make the whole endeavor... I mean, obviously our first and foremost priority is to get the people to safety. So we need to work on that first, but unfortunately that's going to be hampered by the fact that we can't use transporters.
You said something about statuary?
Yes, we did. Mostly
And
just...
you moved it?
Well, we made sure it was safe first, but there was nothing... When we did, there were no power signals, there were no switches, there was no evidence of even the remotest type of technology, not even a counterweight system.
Can you send us what information you do have about this iconography and the statues?
Well, I'd like to, but
Yeah,
that information is currently being collated and downloaded onto data pads and data crystals as we speak, so that we can evacuate all of it safely to your ship and the Mogami.
Didn't you make some kind of recording of the position and the iconography before you started moving the stuff?
Of course, we have a holographic mapping of everything that we found thus far. Again, the results of those are all currently being collated onto data crystals and data pads for transport.
Andrews is just going to mute the
Okay.
the panel when they're doing that. Like,
Yep.
are they giving off any readings, Nova? Are they uneasy about anything that we've asked them about, other than the fact that we told them that they've got less time? As if that they're hiding anything, or if they are being genuinely honest?
Nova gets the sense that they are being entirely honest. They're obviously anxious, worried. The bit about the timetable moving up has got them rather fearful, but Lieutenant Hal Thompson is keeping his stoic professional outer veneer in order to make sure that panic doesn't get in the way of doing his job. Whereas Mitchell Al-Malki seems to be very concerned more about the data, but that kind of makes sense because he's, civilian scientist. So this is more than likely the fruits of his own labor he's looking to save here. Other than that, there appears to be no hint of duplicity that you can detect.
Seems rather clear that they're telling me the truth, but perhaps it's not from this end. If the theories of this being the gateway are such as it is, then the hands obviously had an option of opening the gate as well. I think
The ship... Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, I think we may need to get closer and get some better sense of readings of it.
And that's when the ship rocks more violently this time. Everyone nearly gets thrown from their seats, and everybody on board the ship feels it as the ship suddenly gets rocked with a graviton wave. But this one was a lot more harsh, as I have just detailed.
Right.
When that happens, is there anything that happens with the whisper?
Good question. No, not yet. There was the voice almost got carried on the wave, but it didn't seem to be any stronger. It didn't sound any nearer either, though. It still it still seems like it's distant. So, there's that.
Right. I think that's our reminder. We are short on time happening again. Right. Do you have coordinates you'd like to get our first runabout to land get loaded up?
I will
And
dispatch
we'll also
those
get
coordinates right now.
We'll get some shuttlecraft en route to you as well. The only other... How many support craft has the Mugabe got?
We currently have 2.
Right, how full are your cargo bays and spaces at the moment?
They are currently filling up fast. We are starting to reach capacity.
Right, our hangar can be used for fly-through for unloading.
Yeah,
so
worst case scenario, send some pattern enhancers down with the first shuttle run, so we'll set them up as an emergency beam out requirement if needs be as well.
Okay.
We can also get if we can get things loaded into cargo boxes, we can at least attach them to the Samson as long as it doesn't get hit by anything.
I want to hold the Samson back initially, Commander. I'll explain why in a minute.
Your idea of putting extra cargo containers on ships is actually not a bad one, suggests Lieutenant Thompson. if we can get some extra storage capacity on some of the craft coming down and picking people up, then we can make this go a little bit faster by having them also pick up artifacts. And data, and stuff like that. We could do 2 of the same thing. We could kill 2 birds with 1 stone, as it were.
If you can get them to mag attach to a hull, then we can get them on the bottom. We can pick them up with the runabout.
Probably going to need to modify your shuttles and runabout craft in order to contain those.
Time to modify the runabout, but if you've got time to set up the container so it can have the latch on itself.
We're not exactly sure how well magnetizing them will work with the ionic interference. They might demagnetize on the way up. We'll end up with a lot of... and he looks over in the direction of Dr. Al-Malaki at this. There might be a lot of free-floating archeological data that we might not necessarily want to have.
Our primary concern here is the survival of the civilians.
Well, exactly.
The archaeological data is a secondary requirement in this state. Data is more important than actual artifacts.
Captain, really, some consideration has to be given to the importance of the finds we have. I'll admit, yes, there needs to be a priority for the people, but still.
Lives are more important than history at this moment in time. Our mission is to ensure that you get off of this planet. That is our mission, our regulation and requirements. If push comes to shove, we get rid of the artifacts because it will speed up the extraction.
Hal, you've been here long. You've been doing this operation longer than we have. Your problems with transport, is that limited to the surface, or does that affect us here in orbit?
Sadly, it appears to be orbit as well. It seems to be pervasive through the system, more than likely due to the interference given off by the star. It seems to be getting slightly worse as things go on.
If you got the cargo into space, though, you could just collect it with work use. That way, it doesn't have to make the full trip.
So, Hal Thompson looks kind of, that kind of consideration face. Dr. Al-Malaki looks horrified. But what if they float off into space? What if they get caught in the star's gravitational pull, or the other planet's gravitational pull?
Then they become an artifact that someone finds in a future expedition.
Captain, really,
this
please.
Entire area is going to go nova. When the star explodes, there'll be pretty much nothing left. If it's in orbit or if it's on the planet. We don't have time to argue about this, Doctor. It's a way to get as much out from the planet as possible.
Well, the idea of extra storage space was a good one. Maybe you might want to consider exploring more of that on your end. If the Mogami, however, is near to capacity, then it's mostly going to be the Navis taking up the flak for this. There may not be that much time, but we've still got a couple of hours left.
How much do you reckon, how low do you reckon we could get into the atmosphere to shorten the trip of the shuttles?
Okay, so Caval knows that the planet is, if I can find my notes, the planet Toryiu 2 is Class B, so it's very much like Mercury. So it's hot, partly molten, but the planet does have a lot of active volcanism on it.
Do you mean Venus or Mercury? Because Mercury doesn't have an atmosphere.
No, neither does Toryiu 2.
Okay.
Alpha Toryiu 2. So everyone down there are wearing EV suits, which of course makes things go a lot slower because you're plodding around in an EV suit.
If everyone's in agreement, we will put the ship into a exceptionally low orbit so that we are taking some hull stress. May also give us some shielding from the gravimetric waves.
Alright, Bravo, you might want to put secondary reactor onto structural integrity.
Right you are, Chief. Yes, sir.
You know what to do, Chief.
If it can shave off 5 minutes trip, that's 10 minutes round trip each way.
Would it be worse having a tinker with the pattern enhancers. Let's see if we can fine tune it to get a bit more
Um,
sustainability out of them if we have to use them.
Possibly not, but you're on a really good idea here. Could you work with... could you work with me on this one? I think if we're that low, we might be able to get the tractor beam to act straight into one of the cargo holds. And just get them to throw cargo into the beam. And use the shuttles for people.
Interesting.
It's gonna put a lot more stress on the thrusters, but she'll take it.
I was thinking, would we need specifically something for it to lock onto? Would we be able to
No,
create a beacon or something?
It's just an active transporter beam. It doesn't have to be locked onto anything.
We lock the tractor beam at the ground, and we say it's on low. Throw things into that. They'll get dragged up.
That's going to require some finessing, but that's an interesting idea.
We ain't got transporters here, but tractor beams work in a different way.
They do. It's all about those gravitons. Okay. Interesting. Anybody else got any interesting ideas?
Question says to use Captain. In addition to having sickbay on standby as normal, given the unusual situation, it might be an idea if I get some of my people to set up small triages in selected areas to reduce the amount of time any sick or injured people in this various things going on have to travel, rather than having to take anyone other than the critically wounded to sickbay.
Agreed, Doctor.
Nice.
We'll set up main triage of all individuals as the main shuttle base.
Like Captain.
Alright. Okay. Cool. Interesting. Alrighty. Well, if there's nothing more, says Captain... Ooh, I've forgotten his name. Fortok. If there's nothing else, I've got to get on with evacuating the last few that we have space for over here at the Mogami. I have to say, Captain, ballsy move. If this pulls off, this is going to be one for the books.
We will see if it works first, Captain.
The ship shudders, as does the Mogami, it seems, because the Captain Fortok just balances himself as another gravity wave hits. Unfortunately for Lieutenant Ori, that means that his marker slips, so he has to do that bit of the equation again, but... Nevertheless, that seems like we've got a plan of action, so let's dump ourselves back to the bridge. You have stuff and things that need to be done, so...
Commander, I'd like you, Mr. Edwards, Lieutenant Morai, to work on the main parts of the transporter change, or the tractor beam change.
Okay.
Cavall, how do you feel about flying the Samson?
I love flying the Samson, Captain. But who's gonna fly the Navis?
Well, I want you and Nova to try and get closer to the actual bit itself. Nova has been there before, and, well, Nova has had this similar feeling before. I want to see if you can try and get just passive level sweeps of sensors, and to see if you can get any additional data whilst you're closer to the area.
Interesting.
Well, Captain, you know me and Nova are very good at obeying orders and doing stuff passively.
Absolutely.
A sudden chill goes through the captain.
I'm trusting.
Already, Captain.
Yes, I'm trusting your judgment, Commander, as to when is too far. I'm trusting both of your judgments on this. The then question becomes to Ensign Lenny of whether he wishes to be one of the main pilots of the runabout, or whether he wishes to be the pilot of the Navis.
Well, Captain, my suggestion is that the second best pilot on board the Navis should be piloting the Navis if the Navis is going to be doing a high risk maneuver.
Ensign Lenny perks up at this. Looks really enthusiastic.
Good, yes, well played, Lenny, yes, but no.
His ears wilt a little bit. Poor Lieutenant Lenny.
Oh, Lenny.
He looks so dejected now.
Lenny, your skills are needed on the more finesse level of piloting the runabout. Then.
Good save, Captain. I'll take it. Says Lenny.
It'll be super dangerous.
Yeah, don't try and comfort me, Faznan.
If there is a scratch on my Carpathia,
there'll be no scratch on the Carpathia, Captain, I promise.
It might be dangerous.
Commander Faznan promised that, and every time he takes it out, there's a new scratch.
I haven't scratched it yet, Captain.
You haven't flown it yet, Lieutenant.
Well, they may be related.
Prove me wrong, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir. I mean, I won't prove you wrong. Yeah, that thing.
Report to your main hangar bay. Your craft is ready for launch.
Yes, sir. Of course, sir. Right now, sir.
Well, totally gonna scratch the.
I'm calling Lieutenant Stevens in to help us with this. I need another engineering bod.
Yes.
Aha.
Gather as many people as you need, Commander.
Yeah. Bravo. The Chief's gonna be busy getting that secondary reactor into structural integrity because you're gonna need it.
Scratches the carpet as he walks to the Samsung. You bastard! Oh, you heartless son of a bitch. Okay. This is how we do it on Andor.
It's like, have you met Kaval?
It's when Andrews inspects it, she's like, this looks like an Ushantor scratch.
Oh, dear God.
Couldn't find the keys.
Just opened it with his dagger.
Oh, dear grief. Gotta keep the kid in his place, eh, Commander?
Oh, yeah.
There's only room for one, Chief. One flyboy in this crate. That's me. Was possibly my worst Kaval Fascinat impersonation ever, but there we are. Kaval has gained one level of nemesis. We Katians never forgive, and we never forget. Ah, damn. What were we doing again? Oh yeah, saving people on a planet.
I thought we were setting up someone to fail here. I thought that was the current plan. It's changed.
Oh, I thought the second best pilot was Edwards.
I mean, I wanted to say that. I do actually have actually pretty good con.
No, indeed. The captain does have a very good con. Okay. So then...
Of course, it's been a while.
I think... Just for making me laugh as hard as you did, I'm going to throw us over to the Alpha Toryiu system as the Samson launches, just as all the other shuttles and the runabouts start heading off down towards the planet. So, the Samson, you guys were planning on getting as close as ye dared to the star and or the satellites?
Yeah.
With the intention of what exactly? Once again, just for my benefit.
So it's more to get to see if taking some close range scans from the Samson, but also to see whether there is a resonance on the empathic relationship that Nova has already had.
Of course. Hence taking Nova along. Nice,
I
nice,
think they'd
nice.
also be looking for some kind of entranceway, telecal technology-wise, that they've experienced before on one of the satellites.
Okay. Any one of the satellite bits of debris that might be used as a, well, like a door that you could then go investigate the rest of the structure. Okay. Well, the first thing that happens when the Samson starts getting too close is it starts encountering some rather bad gravitational shear. So the first thing I'm going to be asking for is, I probably should better bring Cabal and Nova into this map just so they can access their characters more easily. So let's do that. Boop. We're probably going to be looking at Cabal making a control and con check just to try and stabilize the ship. Sean, since you're also on the Samson, you may as well be the Samson itself. Structure and con, please, from the Samson. 1 dice. And I'm going to make this difficulty 4 using threat.
Is that with or without my...
Now, that makes it difficulty 3. Very good point. Very good point. Thank you for reminding me. Difficulty 3 for you.
Sounds like a dream.
Very, very badass dream.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's when Cabal looks out the window, he realises that Lenny has put a scratch on the windscreen. Lenny was here.
So it's difficulty 3. I'll use a point of momentum if it's alright.
Everybody good with that?
Scratch on.
You have to put the scratch.
Oh, my eyes. I'm crying so much from all this mirth. I can't see. You guys. 2 successes, 3 successes. Would you believe it? Of course you do. On the money. The Samson manages to remain more or less stable, but that's going to be getting harder to maintain because the amount of the strength of the gravitational waves coming out of the star are definitely starting to increase in magnitude. But this does give you the opportunity to have a quick old look at the satellites. Yes, someone's going to say something there, sorry.
Have they tripped over the probe we launched an hour ago? Yes.
The probe, thank you for reminding me, the probe pretty much got you the same information that I've detailed already, so you didn't learn anything new from the probe overall. So, yeah, thanks for reminding me, but the information you got was more or less the same. Excuse me. Woo. So, you guys were looking for anything that would give you a way in or any identification of. So, Nova can give me an insight and command check as per usual.
Is this on the empathy or is this on the scan?
Yeah, this will be the empathy. Sorry, okay. Didn't mention that. This will be difficulty 1.
Actually, she's going to throw herself fully at it anyway, so I'm going to Starcross.
Starcross. Character will score 2 successes for any die that rolls equal to or less than twice discipline. Okay, cool.
Empathetic orphan.
Yep.
Projection.
Okie dokie. Oh, that 20 was very close. 3 successes, definitely more than what you needed to overcome it. Okay. Near, far, wherever you are. What you're sensing... Go on, sorry.
Trying to create a connection again, as she does in the past, of just literally reaching out and letting anything back in.
letting anything back in was what you just said, yes?
Oh yeah. She isn't bothered at that point. If it makes a connection, she'll talk to.
Okay, give me a second then. So that's for all of that. Just checking my notes a sec. That's to do with shuttles. That you've already learned. Aha! Okay. This won't be a single step thing for Nova. Even at this range, it involves a bit of work, as it were. So, let's think. You've just given us, you've just used an insight determination. You've used determination, rather, I should say. So,
Yeah, just taking that off.
This is essentially going to be something akin to an extended task. So, this is Nova now reaching out, trying to make contact. Thinks she might have something, but is not quite sure what to make of it yet. It's going to require an extra check. Meanwhile, so I will get back to you on that. So the gravitational eddies make it a little difficult, but so far you're hanging in there. And Nova at the moment is hearing something, can't quite make the most out of it yet, but will do with a little bit of extra work. In the meantime, I'm going to quickly throw us over to the guys who are going to be modifying the tractor beam. So, who was going to be principal, the lead on this?
I'd say Commander's idea.
So, once again, deferring the hat of blame to the most senior officer.
That seems to be the way things go when Edwards is involved, so let's carry on.
So, we're looking on modifying the tractor beam to just put a beam down to the surface and make it so that it's not quite so powerful that it just yanks everything up at full velocity and smushes them against the outside of the hull. But you also want enough finesse that it guides it towards the open shuttles / cargo bay.
Yep.
Hence you need to... Oh, sorry.
Straight from the ground into the cargo bay, and we might need a worker bee to just push things the last few feet, but we got one of them.
Yes, you do.
Reducing the power flow to the point where it's sort of like barely there, so it'd just be kind of the slow pull rather than the big yoink.
Right, so there's going to need to be definitely some science involvement, because there's going to be some number crunching on exactly how strong your projected graviton stream is going to be in order to draw things from the planet. So it needs to be stronger than the planet's own gravitational pull, but not so strong that it rips the crust free and brings everybody who's near the tractor beam with it into space.
Oh, totally
it also can't
we'll
pull us down into the planet.
We'll get them into orbit quicker.
When they're wearing EV suits, tell them to hold their breath.
So I'm guessing obviously the tractor beam isn't anywhere near developed for this, so we're effectively having to design a dampener for it.
Yeah, there's going to have to be a throttle in there.
You're overcharging.
I'm finding a way to use a very large train as a small bus.
Well, it's more my idea was you wanting to decrease the amount of power so it's not, or at least the amount of pull rather than do it. So that's what I was thinking.
The opposite, because you need to go the distance.
We have to go the distance.
And against gravity.
We want to go tortoise, not hare. We want slow and steady.
Yes,
so,
we're going to have to overpower it so that it's at that higher level frequency that it penetrates the entirety of the planet's atmosphere. Even though there is only a very thin one, there's still an atmosphere, and you are also going against the gravity of a planet.
And we have to fit it against our own engines so we don't find ourselves pulled into the planet by this, because normally it moves things in space. We don't tend to use these on planets that much, but needs must.
Yeah, even though you're probably going to be
with the virus
hovering this
drives.
gravity beam just slightly shy of the making contact with the planet's crust, it's still going to be enough of a pull that you need to be able to throw things into the beam and let them carry themselves up. So this is going to take some tweaking.
And we've got about half an hour to do it, so let's get on with it.
You've still got a couple of hours, but those hours are counting down.
Those are the hours we need to use this in.
Are we treating this like a extended task?
Good question. Let's go with yes. Let's go with a yes. Let me create this extended task that you are doing. So this is going to be tractor beam conveyor as an extended task.
In which case, our first bit of work is gonna be find out what the requirements are for this to work. So that needs our science officer and our fourth best pilot on the ship.
Shots fired.
Alright.
Latique just steps in and goes, "Hello, sir. You wanted me?"
I was gonna say I am better than fourth.
Alright, so let's think. This is going to be pretty difficult work because you're, as you're saying, trying to extend the range of the tractor beam, but also configure it so that it generates enough juice to combat the planet's gravity, but not so much that it's an uncontrolled yank. So that's going to be difficulty 4 initially. So initially tweaking the reach of the tractor beam, you're tweaking how much juice goes into the tractor beam, and you're also tweaking how strong it is. So that definitely suggests 3 magnitude. To me, this has never been tried before, so there's a bit of resistance going into that. So everybody gets to contribute to this. It's not going to be that huge a job, so I'm going to make the work track around 15. Okay. So I'm going to just lamp that down there. That's our extended task. So, let's get some action on the first part of that from everybody and see how we do, and then we'll get to the lowering of the ship into the upper atmosphere bit, and then we'll jump back to our 2 intrepid explorers who are very close to the eye of the storm. So,
Don't scratch my ship, Captain.
So, Vipers is principal because, you know, executive officer and former chief engineer. It makes a good deal of sense. This is definitely going to be reason and engineering initially, because you're going to need to work all of this out ahead of time.
For the second action, yes. For this one, I think it's better if either our science or our pilot takes the lead, because they're working out what's possible. Vipers will be helping with the implementation bit in a minute.
Okay, no, that makes sense. That's fine. If it's number crunching you want, then it's probably Lieutenant Ori that needs to take the lead on this then. Warp field dynamics is probably going to be a good focus for Lieutenant Ori to use. So Mike will be rolling 2. Webby, do you want to roll for Steven, since she's technically your supporting character?
Yeah.
We're definitely looking for, what are we, reason and engineering here.
Reason engineering, warp field dynamics is a...
I'll go with that, yeah. Ooh, 2 so far. 1, we just need 1 more, there it is. So you got over the difficulty, nice.
Edwards?
Done, so anything Edwards adds is extra.
If you roll a 20, at the airlock you go. We only have had 1 complication this evening, and it's the new guy. We'll let him off.
Alright, so there we are. You got exactly what was needed. Well done. So now, I would like...
I had a huge complication. You found out about my crates.
I will need Mike to roll me some dice. So what I need you to do, Mike, is I need you to go to your character sheet underneath your attributes column, so control, daring, fitness, insight, presence, and reason, there is a big red button that says perform challenge. I would like you to press it. Because you were the lead in this, you get to roll 7d6. So it asks for the number of dice in pool, put in 7, and then press the roll dice button.
Okay. Using Nick of Time with this.
And Nick of Time will assist. You gain an additional word. Well done. Okay, so Mike, you with us?
Oh, I couldn't quite understand you. I'm sorry.
I do beg your pardon. Shall I repeat that?
Alright. So...
Would you like me to go through the steps again?
Number of
No,
dice would be...
You got it. 7 dice, please.
It doesn't go that far.
Doesn't it? Well, 5 will do then.
Okay. Am I using a focus?
No, nothing like that.
Right, you've clicked
Wait a
on
sec.
perform task.
You're
not
going to perform task.
challenge.
Thank you, Davis.
Oh.
Red
If you-
button,
if you-
not the yellow one.
Yeah, if you want to quit out of that, it's the red perform challenge die. I keep saying dice.
Okay.
Button!
Thank you. Sorry.
I couldn't even get the word out. Don't you apologise?
Nice.
Ooh, nice. 7 successes, which means you definitely get a breakthrough on that. Nicely done.
How many effects?
That was 2 effects, so you gain 2 extra.
9
difficult.
successes. Nice.
Difficulty goes down. That was some extremely good progress made on that. So the numbers are all looking good. You reckon you can implement the changes? Nice.
Okay.
Right, we'll come back to that in a minute. Let's go to Andrews piloting the craft down, and we'll definitely want Gareth to be the Navis assisting. So the Navis is going to be looking for probably engines and con, or are we looking structure and con? What do we reckon, gang?
Well, structure
say-
and con gives us an extra point.
I personally had a s-
Navis is rolling. Is it holding together?
yeah. Is it liking it?
You're guiding the ship down and you're trying to hold position
I
as
think it's
low
more
as
engines.
you can go. It
As
sounds
much as I'd like to say it's structure, it's more engines.
Alrighty.
Okay.
So, from Andrews, of course, this is going to be a control and con check. I'm going to make this difficulty 3 by adding a point of threat.
Oh, Navis helps.
Navis does help, so you've got
See, I
2
was
successes
going
to
to
make
use
up.
daring and con and just go in, just putting highway to hell on and just gun it. Well, I'm going to burn a determination on that one.
Okay.
Let's see if we get it back. Come on. Come on. Yeah.
You do not get it back, I'm afraid.
Oh well. And then Starfleet protocols would be a foci. There is Blue Alert, which is landing.
Yeah,
ship on a
okay,
planet.
no, I can go with that. Yep, that's justification
Does
enough for
involve
me.
changing the bulb.
Yeah, it does mean changing the bulb. Yeah.
There's a cross
Hang on.
franchise reference for you.
Did I have? I thought I had Blue Alert, actually. Where did I put it? I do have Blue
I
Alert!
think I may have incapacitated your first officer.
Blue alert. Set condition 1 throughout the ship.
Alright, all hands to emergency stations, yep.
Medal of Honor, is it? Mission. The character may gain 2 bonus medals on a successful task. No. Oh, it's the one that I don't have, I don't think. Is it Decoration Gallantry? Yeah, it's the one I don't have. Right, okay. So, perform task, use foci, use determination, 2 die. Complication range. Did you increase the complication or the difficulty?
I did not increase the complication range, I increased the difficulty, yes. Oh! Oh! Nicely done! That was close. So the ship does rumble as it starts to descend down the even the thin atmosphere, but it's highly volcanically active planet, so there's plenty of particulates in the air to make it a bumpy, jostly ride. But your captain does manage to pilot the ship and get it into a lower orbit, which will put a bit of a strain on the ship, almost definitely. Whether it'll protect you from the gravitational buffering you're getting from the star remains to be seen, and depends entirely on how strong those gravitational waves are coming in. But for the moment, that is a very, very successful maneuvering of the Navis down lower into the atmosphere, which will, as you quite rightly stated, shorten the amount of time it takes to get shuttles to and from, and will make it a slightly easier on the tractor beam modifications too, because it doesn't have to reach quite as far as it would have. Alright then. No scratches on the Navis yet! And in case you hadn't, quick deflector shields to full before it forgets.
Shields won't be doing anything, it's deflector for the low level.
Power is currently in use. Please ask again later when we're not running it for structural integrity.
That's a good point. Power was diverted to structural integrity. Power was diverted to the ship to go down into the atmosphere, so points of power have been taken off. Let's jump back to Thazanan and Nova, back in orbit of the star. So, over we go to the guys in there. So, once again, I'm going to ask for a piloting check, but the difficulty has now gone up to... what did I make it last time?
It was 4 last time.
But so reduced down to 3 because of Caval's talent, so now, even with Caval's talent, it goes back up to 4, because the gravitational forces are starting to increase. So first thing we're going to need is for Caval Thazanan to give us another control and con, and for the Samson, which Sean can feel free to do again, structure and con from the Samson.
I think I shall use a determination, looking for adventure.
Ooh, I like.
The Samson's performing well today.
The Samson is performing well, but she's starting to creak, if I can get that going.
I'm going to use a Starfleet Medal of Honor as well.
Ooh, look at that! Double ones! Because, of course, the determination, but...
yeah.
Nevertheless, the Samson and its pilot are performing admirably indeed. Very, very good. So, yep, Caval manages to hold the Samson steady so it maintains the minimum safe distance, whilst Nova continues with what she was doing.
So Caval just goes at the satellite and tells Nova, say when.
Casual.
Oh dear. Okay.
Almost. Jolly good.
Alright then, so from Nova, I am this time going to want... I'm going to want Insight and Science this time, rather than Insight and Command, as she applies what she just found with reaching out with what she thinks is going on, and I'm going to let you have... Ooh. Now, what... Now, it's a stretch, but I am going to allow... Actually, no, Empathy Projection makes more sense for a focus, still. Yeah, that's fine. This is going to be difficulty 3 still. Difficulty 3, I think, still. This is going to be difficulty 3 for you. If you want an excuse for a determination, then how does this work would be a good one. Or it ain't all buttons and charts. Did I say that right? Buttons and charts, yes I did.
Let's see if that one opened. Yeah, people mind if I spend momentum?
Yeah, go for it. We've been rolling stupidly well, so
You have. It's been really good.
People feel free to spend momentum. Try and get it below 6 for like 10 minutes. Initially, we were not building a lot, but then all of a sudden we've just built a stupid amount. So I think everyone.
So, assuming I can do this, I can spend 2 momentum to create an advantage, I believe. Basing this on the fact that she's got the familiarity with having with something like this before.
So to create an advantage, you need to spend 2 momentum.
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, you only asked for 1 momentum.
I said, can I spend momentum? I didn't tell you how much I was spending.
And you said it was okay.
No, but that'll cost me 2, and I believe that creates 2 copies
of the same advantage. Nice. All right, so feel free to knock the momentum pool down by 2.
If you roll a complication on this.
Yeah.
Like I haven't got a gym badge.
Yeah. Yes. By the way, Mike, for reference, is that Nova has every single gym badge under the sun at least twice.
Awards, medals for in-game.
Oh, see.
Oh yeah! Well, blimey. Okay, what do you learn? Ooh, okay. Let me just get... Alright. Nova reckons that with what she's hearing and what she's experiencing, if I can just turn the whispers back on, they're definitely present, certainly at this range. She's getting words. If there are words, they're not very clear. But Nova definitely detects amounts of fear. But then when there's the hint of that Nova has made some kind of connection, or has at least sent a pulse of her own desire for a connection into wherever this is going to, there's a sense of joy, but then sadness, also anger. And worryingly enough, it's also mixed with this chaotic feeling of the only thing that Nova can compare it to is a slight tinge of madness. Very definite mental instability kind of feel to it, or a chaotic feeling. So,
I can't remember the name of the science officer that we lost, but should probably be reaching out specifically for them or Tannenbaum.
Turin, yes, interesting.
Yeah.
Now, what Nova reckons is the increasing, the imploding star might very well be weakening subspace barriers, and this might be allowing energy and information to leak out into your universe. So it's possible that the whispering might very well be other minds that exist, but in another realm of subspace or an alternate dimension. That's what you're hearing, and maybe have been hearing or sensing all along. Now, I'll let that stew for a moment as we dive back to our intrepid crew working on the tractor beam conveyance. So now that you've got the numbers crunched, what's the plan of action here?
Since we know how the tractor beam is configured, I think we should probably configure it.
Yeah. So let me move the ambience to a different one.
Pick a target and turn it off.
So who's the lead on this now, this second half, as it were? Is this going to be Vibers taking over the actual command of the second part of it now, or...?
Can do unless anyone else wants it.
So,
Okay. So what we're looking at is now the actual construction of the thing. So, another bit of reason and engineering, I think, definitely from Vibers. Similarly with everybody else, but since Ori is crunching the numbers, Ori can still do reason and engineering, but focus on the warp field dynamics, as it were.
okay.
Even though warp field... would warp field dynamics work? I'm going to go with yes, because space magic.
Okay.
Space
So,
magic.
reason and engineering?
I beg your pardon, Mike, sorry I didn't catch that.
Reason and engineering?
Reason and engineering, please, yes. Because this is now you applying what you've learned to actually doing manual stuff. With bits and gubbins and electrical bits and pieces. Apparently, Lieutenant Ori's taking the lead.
Oh, sorry. I didn't
That's
mean to
okay.
roll it.
That's okay. That's okay. What we can do...
I apologize.
No, it's
Roll
cool.
it again on one dice.
Just take his first die.
Just take the 2. We'll just take the 2. We'll ignore the
Yep.
16. We'll take the 2. That's brilliant. No problem there at all.
Is Stevens rolling?
Can do.
Is
if you want to.
Stevens rolling?
Do you want to roll?
Yeah.
Do you want to roll, Gareth? As you've not rolled anything.
Yeah, Gareth can roll for Stevens this time. Reason and engineering. Maybe with a focus on the electroplasma systems, because power's going to need to be fed through this thing. Whoop. Whoop, that was close. She started to feel the pressure a little bit of her first day on the job.
Yeah, but then she remembered the captain's order. No consequences.
Oh, there's no prisoners.
That's not the captain's order.
Well, I think what you'll find is that the first officer's suggestion was no consequences. The captain's order was no scratches.
And
3
the challenge dice
successes!
comes with it.
Jeez, Willikers. You may ignore up to 2 resistance, so there goes that resistance. So, blimey day. 3, and that was a heck of a lot of successes there. Well done, folks. You definitely get momentum back for that. Because that was well over and above.
6 dice in the challenge dice.
6 dice in the challenge dice, if you please. Edwards' nick of time still applies.
Oh, in which case that's 7, isn't it?
So,
Well, I don't give you extra dice, unless you it's extra successes on an event.
Ah.
so you've got 4 successes there. 1, 2, 3, 4.
1 effect, so we get to ignore 2 resistance for it.
No,
Well,
you just get the extra.
Already did that,
Oh, yeah.
so that's cool.
I'll bring mine up again just to.
Plus your 1.
So that one, you encountered a bit of a problem with fitting in certain parts of the, or rearranging some of the parts of the tractor beam emitter. So, possibly, not laying any definite blame, but possibly Lieutenant Stevens, when she got a bit nervous about the implications of failure, it was one of those things where the moment you think about failing is the moment you slip and fail. So it was a moment of, So you didn't quite get what you wanted, but you're almost there, just a little bit more work and you might actually have this done. There were no breakthroughs there, but you're close to finishing. So,
Hey,
that's
Stevens, go get me a spare part from deflector control. We can fit that in.
cool. So next we get to holding the Navis steady.
Just send her away, why don't you?
Vitally important bit.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
The one she broke.
Yeah. Bertram will notice as well, actually, on the medical scans, is that, yeah, there's a biological match between Stevens and Andrews.
Enough alleles in common that they are more than likely related.
Yep. Whether or not Bertram actually thinks much of it, he doesn't say.
Yeah. I love it.
No, you had a
Bertram's.
transporter clone.
He'd probably think it's a potential donor now. Things go
Spare
wrong.
bit, yeah, spare parts.
So, if I'm getting this correctly, Bertram's like, if it's not medical related or plant research related, it's like, eh.
It's the thing. His backstory was he was brought up on a fairly sort of isolated Federation science colony, which is all about the sun. So from basically pretty much his birth, it's been the thing of the way I envisioned it was almost cult-like, their dedication to science. He's all about sort of like scientific endeavors and stuff like that. He never really got the whole sort of like having fun or downtime thing. So things like there's also the thing the way I envisioned his colony was they very much went into the village raises the child. So while he obviously did have biological parents, they didn't really have like tight family units. It was the whole colony was regarded as a science-loving family.
You're saying he's a Vulcan?
Well, to be honest, he is Bertram.
Just have to insult me, you know.
I picture him more like
fake
Boimler,
Romulan,
actually.
Fake Romulan.
That's why you don't like Vulcans. They're the only ones who were doing it right.
No, his adult ears never came in after the baby ones fell off.
His baby ears.
Right, I'm gonna have to ask for Andrews to give me a control and con check, as well as Gareth, if you can be the ship, to give me another engines and con check. I have spent a point of threat to put the complication range up by 1. The difficulty now remains at 2.
I'll give you a success.
Thank you very much.
Difficulty's at 2. Okay.
Difficulty's
Well,
at
I'll
2.
save-
You've already got 1
I will-
success, but the complication
yeah,
range is up by 1.
I will save my determination this time then.
Okay.
Using foci 2 die and whoosh.
Ooh.
That's 2 18s now. Third time you're gonna get me now. Dan.
So that was exactly what you needed to succeed. The ship does judder and shake as it hits a bit of turbulence, but managed to keep it steady enough, just about.
Is Lenny coming back by now? And I can just see the scratch on the side of the Carpathia. That's why I was sort of like getting a bit intense.
Wasn't me, Gov. Alright, well, crikey. Let me think. So.
Because it's 8 minutes to 10. Do you want to finish off to see if we can get the transporter done?
Yeah, I was about to. That sounds about right. Actually, let's do that first. So, holding position. We've just got Nova's made her supposition of what's going on. So let's get the tractor beam finished. Yes, indeedy. So once again, who is being head of this one? Let's just keep it to what it was previously, or
Stevens.
Is Stevens being included in this, or is she being excluded?
I was saying, let her be the head of this one.
Let her be the head of this one.
Yeah, she's come back with a part to that she broke, and now we're letting her finish off the job and just assisting.
Stephen Coates goes, I managed to make a new improved one with these like, abandoned greases that I found.
Alright then, from... so, in all seriousness, who does appear to be the lead on this?
If you want to, she can be.
I was gonna, if you say it's gonna be Stevens, it's gonna be Stevens. Last chance decision.
Ibis will do it.
Okay. So,
It's not fair to make someone lead on their first day.
I was elected to read, not to lead.
I say after putting the chief science officer twice.
Yeah, but he's head of the department. So actually, no, she's head of department as well because she's head of radiation control, isn't she?
That makes us second in the department.
Warp field engineer is her current assignment, so. In either case, from Lieutenant Liku Orai, can I get 1 dice with reason and engineering once again?
Okay.
And a focus on computers this time to get the targeting systems correct. Stevens can give me 1 dice using reason and engineering as well. Whoever's doing Stevens, maybe Gareth. Edwards, same thing. Sorry, what was that?
I ran out of successes.
You ran out of successes. Well, it had to happen at some point. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Stevens gets 1 success. There we are. She makes it back. Oh, and Edwards has to go 1 bit further.
And Vibers he'd like to pull out his manuals.
Okay. It was only a matter of time before the manual came out.
Congratulations on obtaining a Kira class starship with the right equipment to give you many months of fun and enjoyment.
One of those like congratulations on your new purchase kind of thing.
Congratulations on your new gift.
4 successes. 1 over and above what you needed.
And 5
And
successes.
Orai's
'cause I
5
just
successes.
rerolled.
Full momentum
I have a
pool.
man-
Go on then. Give us the dice
Did I roll?
then, please. Sorry?
Did I roll that?
You did? You rolled a 10?
Sorry,
No,
I hit the
Navis rerolled
reroll for you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh!
Okay.
Beg your
Thank
pardon. I do beg your pardon.
It's just I could reroll 1, and yours was the only one with 1 in it. I could just.
Cool. Thank you.
Fine.
Woo!
I
Right.
thought I lost my mind.
So 7 in the pile.
Oh, that's a lot. That's good. That's a good one. With 2
8,
effects as well.
8.
Here we are. Work completed. Work completed, and in no small time either, because that's when the ship really does give a very hard shake to one side. So I invite everybody to give me the full Star Trek shake in your chairs, please.
Who gets thrown out of it?
Oh, dang it. I did it again.
Kamal's not even on the ship and he's shaking.
Yes, but I've got an empath with me. So
And I
Claude
got
does
you
not
so
shake
hard,
the
I'm in
sh-
the captain's chair.
The ship takes 1 structural breach from the severity of the gravitational wave that just hit the ship. And this also applies to the unfortunate pair who are very close to the eye of the storm. So the Samson takes a point
away.
of structural breach too, I'm afraid.
He scratched it.
Not so much scratch so much as maybe got a bit to bend or buckle a little bit. So kind of escapes blame there a
It's
little.
not a scratch. Providing it's on the inside, Andrews can't see it.
There you go,
So
then.
it's just-
It was a structural complaint. There's a very loud, where is it? Bit of ship stress that goes off.
it'll buff out.
That bit's meant to be on fire.
Oh, who forgot to put the fuses in?
So yes, a massive gravity wave comes out, this one more violent than the last, which does rock everybody. The Navis, the Samson, the Megami also takes a wallop. As the light from the once permission when the character would suffer an injury. You didn't actually suffer an injury this time.
No, but I can ignore a breach as well.
Can ignore a
Oh,
breach,
suffer
yeah.
one or more breach, so the Samson doesn't suffer a breach. Nice.
How many momentum do you need to spend? You need to spend 2 momentum. I think I'd allow. Yeah, I definitely agree. Spend the momentum to.
You can't have a dent in the
Samson.
Samson.
Nova's just like Nova just suddenly empathically goes left. Well, just instantly presses left on the control panel.
They ride the wave.
I almost
it's
viewed
called
it as.
teamwork.
Sorry, Jan, I talked over you there.
I said hello. It's called teamwork.
I almost pictured it more along the lines of there appeared a dent. Caval bangs his fist into it and undents the dent.
Or the red button starts flashing. He's like, no, just takes the ball out.
So the light from the star increases after that massive gravity wave, and the meaning of which, well, will be made evident the next time we appear, because that's unfortunately where I'm going to stop it for tonight. So I am sorry, but yeah, that's all we have time for tonight. So thank you very much for joining us today, Mike. I hope your first session with us was everything that you feared it would be.
It was much better.
It was better. Hey, there we go then. Now, I do have a bit of unfortunate news for everyone gathered here today. If I can just turn down the evacuation process going out there over the audio. But unfortunately, next week I am unavailable. I won't be able to make next Tuesday, I am afraid. Very sorry about that, but
I'm just hearing excuses now.
yeah, unfortunately all I've got is excuses. But the 22nd of August is very much free and easy, so that's when we'll be coming back to conclude this episode. So can I just confirm that everybody on my crew here is available for August the 22nd?
Yep, that's good, because I wouldn't be available next Tuesday either.
Oh, there we go then. So
It's conspiracy, they're meeting somewhere.
More excuses. Do we
the
wanna
Welsh are
look
planning
potentially-
something, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Do we want to consider, like we were discussing a while ago, then about having a filler session?
Yeah.
Runs a campaign.
Might be fun for Mike.
I want to know how many awards Nova has.
Enough as I make a decorative dress.
Sean, have you counted?
9,001.
It's got to be in the exponents.
Probably.
19.
Good lord.
Wow. Wow. Most decorated person in Starfleet.
Yes, considering.
Use his promotion.
Yeah,
The only thing stopping it getting demoted.
probably.
Also
Nobody
helps
can-
with transact money at the vending machine.
Yeah. Natala, Andrews, and Ducasse got very good at writing reports.
Well, in any case, to everybody who tuned in for the stream, thank you very much for doing so. I hope you had as much fun watching as we did partaking. So if you did take part, thank you very much for doing so. If you're following this on YouTube later on, then if you enjoyed this as much as we did, then please consider giving us a like. Just if anything else, it helps everybody else who does actual plays.
Subscribe. Like and subscribe.
That too.
Visit his Patreon.
I don't have a Patreon.
Yeah, oh, sorry. Visit his OnlyFans.
That's between me and my OnlyFans subscribers. Thank you very much. What the hell would I do on OnlyFans, for God's sake?
You just redo the stream, but you just got your top off.
Thank you, Suitable Substrate, for giving me an excuse to stop these guys mid whatever the hell they were going to say next. And quickly exit this stream as fast as my dignity can manage, whatever shreds are left of it. As I thank everybody for watching and ask you to do like the Vulcans do, which is not engage in Fanfare, but actually to engage in infinite variety and infinite combinations. Thank you very much for tuning in, everybody, to the sheer madness that we engage upon regularly. And I will see you all when I see you next. Make sure you live long and prosper, and we will close our hailing frequencies. See you in 2 weeks, from me at least. Bye-bye.